has been destined to win. Alpha Omega the end. Let it begin. If you will scope through my lens, I do not follow no trends. You see the light, you can believe all the hype. Relentless from day to the night, you're paying the price. Tell them my time is now. I'm active and ready to fight. Into the struggle, the hustle, the pain. I see the smiles from the fake on their face. This is my time, ain't no time to waste. The warrior's ready, they're screaming my name. Taking it all. Settle the score. No, I will not take a loss. Taking it all. Kicking the door. Dropping you down to the floor. We taking it all. Ready for war. Better than ever before. Taking it all. Breaking the walls. My blood is hard to the core. We taking it all. I am controlling the game. You should not step in my lane. You're not the same. I am elite, know the name. The legacy runs through my veins. I am a king. I do not ever pretend. Straight to the top I ascend. Say it again. Straight to the top I ascend. I'm ruthless. I'm 10 out of 10. Ready for the hustle and pain. I see the smiles from the fake on their face. This is my time. Ain't no time to waste. The warrior's ready. They're screaming my name. Taking it all. Settle the score. No, I will not take a loss. Taking it all. Kicking the door. Dropping you down to the floor. We taking it all. Ready for war. Better than ever before. Taking it all. Breaking the walls. My blood is hard to the core. We taking it all.
Good evening, everyone. Off the Ropes, episode 28, Money in the Bank review show. It's your boy Bret here. Welcoming back a familiar person. He's been off of the last few shows. I think he must be recovering from that. Was it the exploding table, fire burning table match with the professor? Coach Jereme Hubbard, welcome, sir.
Yeah, 5-star death match with me and Matt Diggs. One of us had to be written off TV, and I guess I'm coming back first. So we'll see what happens.
And then we got Dirt Sheet Brandon and KO Kyle Owens. Welcome, fellas.
What's up? Glad to be back. We haven't done one of these in a while. I must say, though, I hear your solo entrance, but I'm on the bandwagon. I believe in Joe Hendry.
Dude, you stole my thunder, Kyle.
Speaking of that, last night's show was pretty good. I tuned in to NXT. I've been watching a little bit. I kind of watched last week to get ready for Heat Wave, so I kind of would know what was going on. And man, all the returns last night, the Rascals back together. Man, just some interesting stuff going on there in NXT. So I mean, it's not one of the ones we used to talk about because we all don't watch it. I try to watch it. There's just so much wrestling. I just it's like an oversaturation of wrestling. And so, but it's been good lately. So I've tried to keep up with it a little bit. The kids like it, so something to entertain them.
Man, if we'd have planned that better, KO, we could have had the whole Joe Hendry thing. I could have done it. I hadn't been here in a while. You could have just said my name and I could have appeared. But whatever, we'll go with it.
We get you a nice zoom in shot. Yeah, Jeremy just pan out and zoom in.
I was gonna bring that up too because Kyle, that was the song I wanted to hear when we came on too. But Solo's theme is a banger. But I will acknowledge that he is not my tribal chief.
Yeah,
you better be careful.
Hashtag not my bloodline.
Put me through a table. Yeah, we need our tribal chief back.
He's coming. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely coming, and we'll talk about a little bit.
That pop is going to be. That pop is going to be epic when he comes.
It's going to be, yeah. And we'll talk about some of that stuff. Let's talk Money in the Bank first, and then we'll go off topic and cover some things. It's been. I looked back, and it's been since end of May since we've had a show. So a lot of things have happened since then, both in WWE and AEW. So we'll kind of venture.
Quick trivia question.
Okay, go for it.
Does anyone know what school this shirt represents? It's a purple team with the goldish. I'll say a Mustang.
Center.
I was going to say
no, not
it's center.
Hold on, it's not.
Hold on. It's a.
Come on, Brandon. You're supposed to know all your East Texas teams.
This is not an East Texas school.
I don't think it's East Texas.
Let me put that out there.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not East Texas.
It reminds me of the Overton Mustang, but it's not. It's not green and white. So that's what it looks like to me.
It's not Sanger. It's man, I know this one. I've seen it.
Did somebody give you some free gear when you went to 7-on-7, Kyle?
No. It wasn't a 7-on-7 school either.
He stole
it.
it.
He stole
it. I didn't steal it. It was gifted to me. I have one of this, and then one of a Lockhart Lion. I have a Lockhart Lion shirt as well. Lockhart. That's a.
Oh, is it El Paso Burgess?
No.
Okay, who is
it? Benjamin.
Marble Falls.
Marble
Falls Mustangs.
Okay.
Nice.
Are you starting a collection? Is that your new thing, Kyle? You're gonna collect shirts from different schools?
I'm trying. Funny you say that. When I was at KMU, I have a shirt from almost. I have a shirt from almost every school that I covered, excluding a couple. But no. So this.
Do you have one from Brookhill yet? Oh wait.
Yes, he does.
You got yours pretty cool.
Yes, he does.
It took me a year to get one. Still waiting on my nice hat, but maybe I'll get that this year. Maybe
at some point. But this kid that I went to school with.
He's gonna put his hat on. Okay, that's man. Probably covered more Brookhill games than anywhere else, and can't even get a hat. Man,
that's fair.
He is hurt about this.
I know.
We got it. Hey, Kyle, listen to this. The NetSN bump has even happened on Brookhill. They've got like 13 girls going to be on the roster this year. They got players coming from all over the world to come now, just because NetSN covers
and
them.
won a baseball and softball state championship.
Yeah, it's the place to be, and we covered all those teams. We covered soccer. We covered
and they won a
softball and baseball title. Yeah,
and you know that
basketball's next.
A couple of people pointed this out. I'm the only person in my family that hasn't won a state championship. So that's
that's tough.
Yeah.
So no pressure this year, Coach.
None at all.
Starting off strong too against Martins Mill, so it'll be a good start.
Then Brownsboro.
Oh man.
Then Tenaha.
Hey, that's what we talk about, Kyle. That's on those battle tested schedules, right? You just get battle tested.
I prefer that than playing a cupcake schedule to begin.
That's actually the kind of schedule you usually schedule when you know you're leaving. Like you
Is there something you're telling us?
No, I'm not. But that's what you would normally do. Like, hey, you're replacing me. Here you go. Congratulations on this. But I'm gonna do it. Hey, listen, we're excited. Whatever. It's not about us. We're excited about it. But anyway, continue.
Maybe we can get some of those games live on NetSN. That'd be pretty cool.
Not if you don't get no gear.
Yeah, I still show up. I'm a loyal person to Brookhill. NetSN, we take care of them.
And we're a Nike program now, so it'll even look better.
Oh,
hey.
So we need some new Nike gear. All right.
Yeah, now we need new gear. Now our gear is outdated.
Hey, guess what, Kyle? Though I've heard this rumor, and hopefully it's going to end up being true. There's going to be a network cable in the press box for us.
Oh, okay.
It's true.
Look at that.
At the football stadium. Yeah, it's happening. Shout out IT department.
Now we'll just have to work on the basketball one. Maybe if we get a state championship in basketball, we can get a network cable in the gym.
No pressure. Anyway,
this is about wrestling tonight.
Please, KO, continue.
Let's.
Oh yeah, I was explaining how I got the Marble Falls shirt. Okay, because I've never been to Marble Falls. So a guy I went to school with, Josh Gilbert. He is a coach, and he's been all over the place. But he was at Lockhart for a while as the OC, and he went to Marble Falls for a brief stint. I won't get into it. He's not at Marble Falls anymore. He went to Marble Falls for a brief stint. He is now the offensive coordinator at Godley up in the Fort Worth area. So anyway, I'm waiting on my Godley gear, but I got Lockhart and Marble Falls. So I'm just trying to get gear from everywhere he goes too. So I'm just trying to rack up as many high school shirts as I can.
Okay. All right.
So if you're a coach out there listening, just send me some gear and I will sport it on podcast.
There you go. Free advertisement.
Listen, I'm a walking billboard.
So let's talk Money in the Bank. We'll start off with the opening match, which was the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. To me, whenever I saw that this was the first match, it was pretty obvious to me that Drew McIntyre was going to win. And Kyle, I think you said kind of called I was thinking the same thing, but that was kind of called the shot. Drew McIntyre gets the win. Man, Jey Uso is so over. Man, as much as I thought Drew was going to win, I would think that'd been really cool to be yeeting the bank. I thought that would have been a cool thing. They don't give the briefcase to a face very often though, just because it's not quite as they're not going to go and like do what Drew did and wait till they beat each other up and cash it in normally. But I thought it would have been really cool. He's just so over right now. I'll be interested to see. We'll get to the end of the show and talk Bloodline, but what his part is. He's so, I don't know. He's just so large on his own now. Is that going to be a downgrade for him to go back in and fight for his family again after? I don't know. It's going to be weird. So I don't know. The match was pretty good though. It kind of got overshadowed later by the women's match. To me, the women's match was just off the chart, but the guys' match was fine. I mean, it was your normal spots. What'd you guys think of it overall?
And here's what I hated about it. Not about the match itself. I thought the match was good. Like, it was violent. That's what we thought it was going to be. What I don't like about it is this. If you think back to when this match first started, the guys that were in that match and that were winning weren't the superstars of the WWE, right? You had guys who were up and coming or maybe hadn't gotten there yet. And so that's kind of, and it all goes together in the fact that what they did later on, we're going to get the cash in, right? And we'll get there. But now something that used to be so special and used to be so important to the WWE is now gone on the same night. And we've had that happen before, right? Like Kane did it, but he actually won, I think, when he cashed in the same night. So you've got the whole thing that you build for this pay-per-view, and then all of a sudden, or premium live event, sorry, and then all of a sudden it's the case is out of it. But secondly, like, this is something that a guy like LA Knight should win, or somebody like having Drew and Jay, and LA Knight is probably perfect for it, but Jay and Drew to me are too big to be in that match. Jay was main eventing WrestleMania last year. Why does he need this opportunity? To me, that's what that was built for. I think on the women's side, that's exactly what they did. Like, look at who was in the women's match. That's what they're still using it for. So I just kind of hate that the concept is kind of, to me, it's lost its luster, especially when you do the cash in the same night. I'm reading on Twitter, there's a lot of people upset about that. I don't think they're mad that he lost. I think they were just mad that it's kind of like, what do we even do it for? Like, we got a good match and now it's over.
Well, then, and that tool he used is gone. Like, they used that all year last year with, building Damian Priest, Senor Money in the Bank. I mean, they used it the whole year round, and now that's gone. So you don't have that something to, kind of tinker out every time you turn around. He was coming out, like, acting like he was going to cash in. Now, we're going to get on the women's side. I think Tiffany Stratton, I think she's going to hang on to it for a little bit. She's kind of lined herself with Nia Jax, and so I think there could be some way she uses Nia Jax to help herself there. But, as far as the men's match, I just don't like it either. I don't know. I like those guys that may need it. Like I said, I disagree though. I think Jey Uso, he's never won a singles title by himself, I don't believe.
But
so I think.
Can you see them putting a belt on him though? Singles belt? I don't. I just don't think that.
But I don't know that it's not the same as Drew McIntyre. McIntyre's won, world championships. He doesn't need that match. They used that because he lost it, and that was the only way he was gonna get back into the title picture. Is basically where they were selling that. So I don't know.
And if you were going to use it just to further the CM Punk Drew story, which is what they did, why didn't you put him in a championship match against? I mean, let him go against Cody and see. You know what I mean? Like, why do it that way and take away that's been done so well for so long? KO and Brandon, you may disagree. I just think that, like, you didn't have to do that to get to where you got. I don't feel like.
I do. Oh, go ahead, Brandon.
On, like, not with having it on Drew and then wasting it is with Drew you could waste it. Where if you took it to somebody else and wasted it, because here's probably the thing: is Cody's not losing his belt before Mania, and Gunther, when he wins it, probably at SummerSlam, he's not going to lose it. You want Gunther versus Damien, and Gunther's not going to lose it before Mania. So, and then whoever has it, if it's not Drew, one of these other people, they're probably not going to beat Cody or Gunther in enough time. Like, so I think that I think it was just kind of this year they kind of backed themselves into a wall, and maybe this is. They already had. You got to do Money in the Bank because you do it every year, and And we'll get to the women's one, but the women's one always gets cashed in either that night or 2 days later. The women's one never hangs on to it. So I'm glad now we got a woman to hang, like that one's gonna get hung on to, and the men's one's gone. That's fine. And because the men's one hasn't, it was awesome this year but Damien had he ended up having it too long, I thought, and that was gonna be the case this time too. Or you're gonna have someone lose where it's better to have Drew lose. That doesn't hurt Drew because it furthers the Punk storyline. Where if you put it on Gable or Jay or somebody else, and then they lost, that could set them back.
Yeah, well, I mean, you knew it was going to be Gable, right? He's locked up in this White 6 thing. Jay Uso's about to
I thought he might get close though, and we would get like a White 6.
Yeah, I was hoping that he would get to the top of the ladder, and then the lights would go out, and like
and that smoke comes up.
He would be like gone, like he disappeared, and they had abducted him, and then we see him, find him later, like somewhere. I don't know.
Jay would have been gone. He said, "If the lights go out, we out." That's what he said.
That's what he did. He did that Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, he took off.
I don't mind what they did, because here's the way I look at it. Going into that match, to me, the men's Money in the Bank was obvious. It was Drew's to win from the jump. Jay has bigger fish to fry with the Bloodline coming up. He doesn't need the Money in the Bank briefcase. He's going to be involved in the Bloodline storyline. He doesn't need the briefcase. LA Knight's got a deal going with Logan Paul. He doesn't need the briefcase. He's got a match set up. Melo and Andrade haven't done anything on TV. So, I mean, I guess you could give it to them and have a storyline with them. But, and then Gable with the Wyatt 6. What's up?
I think you forgot Andrade is the speed champion on Twitter. Or X. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. It slipped my mind because they don't come out with the belt. It's only X exclusive.
It was so fast, Kyle. It slipped your mind.
I missed it. But everybody else had something going on in this match. But to your point, Jeremy, I agree. I think it shouldn't have big names like that in the match with those storylines already going on, because then like it did on Saturday, it makes it obvious. Like, you know who's going to win. Now, as far as McIntyre winning it, I'm okay with it and him cashing in the same night, because it does further that Punk storyline, and it kind of goes – they're building this Punk and Drew thing up for a Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood. And so I think to get to that, you got to keep – Punk has to keep screwing McIntyre and back and forth. Like, they got to keep going. So – and Punk – and excuse me, McIntyre called his shot. He said – I'm going to win the briefcase. I'm going to cash it in that night, and I'm walking out champion. Well, 2 of the 3 happened. He just didn't walk out champion. So I like what they did with that. And to be honest, I get what you're saying about the briefcase. There is a nostalgia there to it, but does it really mean the same thing as it used to? I mean, Austin, when I think of Money in the Bank, I think cashing in on a world championship. Austin Theory cashed in on the U.S. title after carrying it around for nearly a year. Like, I don't – to me, that's not a good use of the briefcase. You wasted that by letting him cash in on the U.S. title. And then there's been, like, Liv last year, a couple years ago, cashed in on Ronda Rousey same night that she won it. So, I think if it furthers the storyline like it did with Drew here, I'm okay with it. Now, as far as the women's, Tiffany Stratton, I wouldn't quite say she's going to hold it for so long. We have SummerSlam coming up. And there could be some fluctuation there she may cash in at SummerSlam.
You know who's fighting? Like Nia Jax and her, like, that's what I was saying earlier. They've kind of formed this little,
Are they though? Because if Nia beats Bayley, does Tiffany cash in on Nia?
Well, I was just thinking that maybe she might be using Nia to beat up Bayley and then to come out and then cash it in.
Right. Yeah. Either way, but. I don't know if she'll hold on to it that long, but as far as the match goes, it was entertaining, but at the end of the day, you knew who was going to win. But I mean, they gave close calls for all of them. There was some phenomenal spots in it, not as good as the women, but there were some phenomenal spots. What was crazy is Gable just hanging from the pendulum up there.
Fell face first.
Yeah, that was nasty. But
I was like, "What are you doing?"
It was a fun match.
It was. In all the years, I don't know that I've seen this. Does that ever happen? If y'all can remember, where they would just hang and then the ladder was going, I can't remember that.
Other than Edge spearing Jeff Hardy.
Oh yeah.
Off of it. Yeah.
But other than that, no, it doesn't, because you got to be crazy to do it.
But he had Logan Paul in the match. He could have jumped off the ropes and speared him, in midair.
He could have. He could have. I was surprised.
Some great spots.
I was surprised there was not interference. Like, I expected Logan Paul to come out there and mess with LA Knight. I expected Wyatt Six to come out there and mess with Gable. But it was a clean match, and that kind of shocked me.
Never happens.
I liked how they used Mello in the match too. You knew he wasn't gonna win, but they really let him shine in that. Like he did. I mean, they killed him a couple times, but
I just think the format's got to change, KO, to where maybe you get all NXT guys even, and it gives them a chance at that one of the lower belts, right? Like Mello is a prime example of somebody who you let him win that match and let him go in and cash in on the US or the Intercontinental at some point, right? I mean, I don't know. To me, that shouldn't be for somebody who's already won a world championship multiple times in Drew. I don't know. But you're right.
But I also don't think there should be a Money in the Bank ladder match for a U.S. title. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to do it, let's cash it in on the big. Why would I want the secondary title? Let me go after the big title.
Yeah, well, think about like what TNA used to do, Ultimate X or whatever, where you could trade in your belt for the championship match or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
RIP TNA, but
TNA's back and there people are crossing over now too. But also I used to like also what TNA did. They did the Ultimate X, but also like when they did Feast or Fired.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like four different briefcases, and one was like a world title, one was a tag title, one was something like their Intercontinental title, and I think it was like X Division, and then one was like you're fired. But
yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, we got Christian. We got Christian on tonight. Hey, Christian, how's it going? CM Punk, Drew at Mac.
The Father of the Year, Christian Patriarchy.
Mm-hmm. No, not that. Not Christian.
Not that Christian.
Not that Christian. No. But
this is not the Father of the Year.
CM Punk and Drew.
Christian's right though.
Do y'all think Seth Rollins is in there for a triple threat? Any thinking behind that? Like, so like right now. Okay, so let me run this by you. I had this the other night that I was listening to a podcast that I listened to. Okay, so Seth Rollins is mad at CM Punk, right? Because he cost him. He can't go for the title anymore. But now Damian Priest let him off the hook and said, "I'll challenge you after I beat Gunther at SummerSlam." So should he not be mad at CM Punk anymore?
Well, no,
that was why he was.
I like how they teased that, but it's not going to be a triple threat. I think it's the plan all along has always been Punk and Seth at this next. I think they'll face at Vegas Mania.
I think we're getting 3 matches out of this. I think you're getting Punk and Drew at SummerSlam, Punk and Drew rematch at Bash in Berlin, and then you're getting Punk and Drew Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. Now, Rollins does throw a kink into this, but I heard this on a podcast the other night. Circa Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, and somebody else, where maybe Rollins is a special guest referee in the match. So it's not technically a triple threat, but maybe he's involved somehow. I don't really like that. I think this has more to do with Drew and Punk right now, and Rollins and Punk can have their thing down the road, like you were saying at Vegas. But where does
Rollins go right now, though? Because right now, I don't know where he's. There's
he
no title.
Take a break. He came back because they needed him real quick, but he should go back and take a break again.
That's true.
Just kind of a weird spot because he's kind of in between. He's wants to feud kind of with Punk there. Punk's got McIntyre. He wants the belt. He can't get it right now because they've got Priest and Gunther. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see where they go with him.
I think we may also be getting a Seth heel turn soon too.
Yeah, he's getting a little angry. Yeah, they've got a lot of face. They've got a lot of faces right now.
Heel Seth is good Seth.
Yeah.
All right, this next match was very interesting. I didn't like the way they went with this one. Sami Zayn, Braun Breaker. Like, you building up Braun Breaker all these weeks. He's killing folks. He's, spearing people through barricades. He's like running around spearing people at full blast and just killing people. And then you let one haluva kick from Sami Zayn after people kick out of Sami Zayn's haluva kick all the time. Like, he usually has to put 3 or 4 on him. One haluva kick and it's Braun Breaker's out. Now they're gonna run this back. It looks like, because Braun Breaker came out and just started fighting him again. I don't understand. Like, I didn't like the way that match went to me. I really thought they were going to put Braun Breaker over. Maybe Sami Zayn puts 3 or 4 Olivia kicks and he just kicks out. He just ends up winning. I thought it was really, really weak to me. I don't know. You guys disagree or you agree with that? What do y'all think?
Well, to me, this was the weakest match on the card. I didn't really care about it because to me it seemed predictable as well. I get that they're building Braun up to be this badass and do all that, but why would you let Sami defeat Gunther, who had the longest IC title reign of all time, only to give it up to Braun Breaker, who's been on the main roster for a cup of coffee? Like, that just, I think, now the way they did it, yes,
I just wanted more. I just wanted more.
Yeah.
Like, Sami needed to, it just made Braun look really weak. I don't know.
It did. One haluva kick should not have knocked him down like that, or it knocked him down, but it shouldn't have pinned him. He should have had to hit him a couple of times with as big and bad as he is. So I agree. I think the outcome was right, but how they did it, I didn't agree with. But I also don't think it hurts Braun because, as we saw on Monday night, he still got his spear on Sami. So, I don't think it hurts Braun too much, and we'll see it again down the road, probably sooner rather than later. So I think Braun does take the title from Sami, but I also think we're going to get a little triple threat action coming up. Either if Ludwig Kaiser gets healthy, then I think you got Ludwig, Sami, and Braun.
What about Dragunov? What about Dragunov? You going to make it a fatal 4-way?
I'm thinking Sheamus.
Well, but then if you do that, you got to add Sheamus.
Let's just see a ladder match. Let's do a ladder match. Just put it on a ladder and let's have a ladder match.
We may see a tag match, though, with Ilya and Sami against Braun and whoever. Insert wrestler here. But I think there's a tag match coming up out of this some way. But, I think the outcome was right, but how they did it, they made Braun look weak.
Well, I think
Braun and Baron Corbin reunite the Wolf Dogs.
Yeah. I think you got to remember Sheamus needs the belt to finish the Grand Slam, right? So at some point he's going to be inserted in here. He's on TV too much recently to not win it at some point this summer or this fall. Couple things about Sami is when you think about Sami Zayn, like when you think of Solo, like he's a big dude, right? He's a big nobody. You can't take him down easily. You think of the Undertaker, big guy. When I think of Sami Zayn, I still think of like this little, like X division lightweight wrestler, right? But when you look at Sami against all these guys, like he's bigger than all of them. He's bigger than Braun Breaker. And so I guess my perception of Sami is different than what maybe reality is. I've had to accept that he's a big dude, number one. So I can see him competing with Braun or whatever. But I saw this on Twitter on Sunday. People calling Sammy Hogan. Just kind of getting this where he can't lose, right? Like he beats everybody no matter what. Now, the one thing I'm going to say about this that you were talking about, both of you guys, the one thing that I learned from the smartest person walking the face of the earth, Matt Diggs, is you can't have.
That's a meme right there. That's a meme right there.
You can't have a great match if people are kicking out of finishers. Remember the whole argument? That's what started this whole thing, right? So if Sami is what Sami is, then one haluva kick the first time they fight should probably take him out. Like it wasn't the last match. It was the first one of however many. So I'm fine with one kick winning the match, right? Especially when he said you realize Sami's not this little guy. He's not Rey Mysterio fighting against the Undertaker or Kane or whoever. Like he's a bigger dude, whatever. So, and you can't have a great match without it. That's what I was told by somebody who's much smarter than us. So say what you will about
that. He's not even here, and he's entertaining us.
That's okay. He's taking plenty of shots when I wasn't here. Yeah. He's somewhere being irrelevant, I'm sure.
Wow! All right, it's Coach Hubbard's back, guys. He's back.
Hopefully, he's looking at a map of East Texas.
I think that's all he does is study that map.
He shouldn't. He shouldn't tell people that if he did. Well, somebody talk about somebody else so we can get off Matt Diggs, please. Brandon, what do you think?
What do you think, Brandon?
What's up?
We're waiting to hear your thoughts on this.
I thought Braun was going to win. So I was surprising. Y'all pretty much talked about everything there, but I did like the other night, what Jereme pointed out is about that Sammy's bigger than and Braun kind of highlighted the night before attacking him. Hey, you're the first person to pin me. Nobody in this locker room beat me. And so it kind of made Sammy look stronger. So I guess when Braun eventually does beat him, if it is Braun, it kind of adds to it because they kind of made Sammy look strong by beating him once. But I did think it was going to be Braun's time there. Now, it shocked me when the match ended. Because like you said, Bret, I thought that one haluva kick he was going to kick out and then spear him, and that's not what happened. So it added, and we talked about that before the show, is there was going to be some surprise factor in this pay-per-view or this PLE, and that actually kind of surprised me. So the way, not just that Sammy won, but the way he won with just that one haluva kick.
Yeah. And speaking of surprises, go ahead.
Can I add something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
I went to Tony Khan's favorite website, cagematch.net, just to see what Braun Breaker's done. Since he claims no one's beat him in the back, right? So he beat Cameron Grimes in 1 minute and 21 seconds. He beat Cedric Alexander in 13 seconds.
Okay.
He beat Cale Dixon in 1 minute and 53 seconds.
Okay.
Then he had a 8-minute match with Ricochet, which he won, which was a good match. Then he beat Ilya Dragunov in a 16-minute match, so that's good. Then Sheamus beat Braun Breaker by DQ after a 12-minute match. Kaiser beat Braun Breaker by DQ after a 10-minute match. And then Sammy beat Braun Breaker on Sunday or Saturday. And then on Monday, Ilya beat Braun by DQ in 10 minutes. So, yes, true. No one has pinned Braun in the back other than Sammy. But it's not like this man's just out here beating monsters. He's beating jobbers.
He's beating everybody up so badly he gets DQ'd, Kyle.
No, I got such a hot head he can't win a match. He DQs it.
I'm just confused. I thought Cale Dixon was like a punter for Lufkin a couple years ago. I'm not even real sure, Brandon. You maybe help me out on that.
That's some good information. Man, that's a dirt sheet Brandon information right there, KO.
Hey,
Tony Khan's website.
Did you say the Sammy match was?
The Sammy match. The Sammy match was 13 minutes and 15 seconds.
Well,
because kind of what my note of this is. Well, I know you said this was kind of the down match of the card, but I thought the final 5-minute stretch of this match was really fun. Overall, the match wasn't great, but I thought the ending, the final five, until I was shocked at the ending. But I thought that final, it was a pretty fun back and forth right there at those last few minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
especially when Braun runs around the ring and spears. Yeah,
it was. I
love when Braun runs around the ring and spears everything.
I like that high camera angle they got of him doing that.
Yeah. Well, and they cut some of this match, guys, because they had to get in the greatest of all time retirement announcement. This was a surprise. Everything gets out these days, and I hadn't heard that at all. Like nothing. So I give props to Triple H and WWE for getting that in there before it was leaked. Shocked, but I'm excited that he's going to come back full time 2025 and make one last run. You don't normally get to call your shot like that. They talked about it. Did you guys watch the press conference after?
I did. Yeah,
it was really good. They let ask whatever he wanted to, and he's going to get to come back and just pretty much do a whole year tour. I think 30 or 40 dates he's going to run. And what I'm looking forward to is this is me as a John Cena fan. I've always loved John Cena, through all of the years. I want that 17th title. I want that 17th world title somewhere in this thing. I think he deserves it. He's had at least one match every year since 1999. He's carried this company as far as the face of it. He does the Make-A-Wish stuff. I mean, he's as much as they've had negative publicity over the years with certain person we won't mention, John Cena has been that positive. Like he's always doing things for kids, for anybody. Like he's always that shot, like bright spot, I guess, for me. And so it was funny they asked him about that question. He just dodged it. He basically said he told him what he thought about all the drama in the back. In another, he wouldn't go. I don't really know why someone asked that. Because they kind of was necessary. And he looked a little perturbed when he was asked about the whole McMahon thing. But
he said he was fielding all questions.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, but then they turned around and asked Paul the same thing.
Yeah,
I didn't hear that.
And Triple H almost came out at that point.
Yeah,
but
he was.
They asked Paul and they got tripped.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm excited for it. I think he deserves it. But I don't know if they'll do it. But they've got plenty of time, so they could give him a little run. It doesn't have to be, but I think he deserves that record. I mean, to me, and I'm looking forward to at least hopefully making a date. Hopefully they'll have a Dallas date in there that I can get some tickets and go see John Cena in person one last time. So, what do you guys think about the announcement?
Yeah, I was the same. Well, I agree with you, Bret, on the wanting to go see. Because you probably the same way want to take your kids to see him, because John Cena's like the ultimate kid. He's like a kid magnet for wrestling fans. Like that's what John Cena is like. It was hard to turn John Cena heel ever because the kids loved him so much. They just didn't want to do that. And so that's what, I've seen John Cena, but I'd love to take my son to see him. And I was actually there for number 16. So seeing number 17 be kind of cool. Also, I know Randy Orton said he wants to face Cena at Mania. So I don't know if that would happen before or after.
Brandon, wasn't 16 at the Royal Rumble?
Yeah.
2017?
Yeah, I was seeing at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I was there
Styles,
too. Yeah, I was there too. I got to see that one, so that was a pretty cool moment to get to be a part of. But yeah, he's a kid. I mean, my son calls him John Cena. Like he doesn't understand Beckham's, but he loves him. He's like, can't see me. Like he loves the whole, and he's that. Obviously, he hasn't been on TV enough to really see him to know a whole lot about him. But yeah, that'd be an awesome opportunity to get to see him one last time, especially with that many dates.
But and like you said, I was surprised. Like I knew Cena was in Toronto, but I didn't know if he was going to show up or what role. I didn't know about the retirement tour and all that. So, like you said, it was in today's world, it's surprising that didn't get leaked out before he came and made the announcement. But and then once he made that announcement, it was everywhere. I mean, it was ESPN, New York Times, CNN. Everybody was. That's how big of an impact John Cena has.
KLTV? Did KLTV get that out, Kyle?
Not that night. No, sir. We posted it next day.
Kyle has exclusive with him tomorrow.
Yeah, I got an exclusive with Cena tomorrow.
Now that would be Carlito's words. Now that would be cool.
That would be very cool. I was
hoping you weren't using Carlito's words from the other night. So.
No. We're gonna stay away from that, Brandon. We're gonna stay away from that.
We're not on Netflix.
Detouring the conversation away from Carlito and his looking at packages. We are going to just move forward. I don't know how to get out of this. Jereme, help me.
You're on your own, man.
John Cena, big fan of Cena. It was the big shock of the night to me when he came out and announced his retirement. I know I audibly was like, what? Like, because again, it wasn't leaked anywhere. Normally when something like this happens, we get a leak here, a leak there, Fightful or somebody will say, hey, we've heard rumbling, but there was nothing, just kept completely quiet, which is a testament to Cena and the respect that WWE and Cena have for each other, because nobody talked about it. Nobody leaked it.
I don't think some of the wrestlers didn't even know. Like
I'm sure they didn't. I mean, I'm sure only probably Triple H, Rock.
I saw some rumors, like some people that they talked to, Kyle, that like they said that they found out when they saw a shirt He came in the building and saw like what his shirt. They didn't know at all. So, and that's where they get a lot of those rumors that some of the wrestlers will talk or whatever. And I just think there was not enough people that knew about it to release
which is
it.
good. That's how it should be. I mean, that's how you should be able to go out on your own terms, do it how you want. He confused a lot of people though when he said that WrestleMania would be his last WrestleMania. People thought that he was done at WrestleMania, and then in the press conference he had to clarify, like, no, all of 2025. Like we're going past Mania. But just for fun, trivia question: when is the last time that John Cena won a one-on-one match on TV?
I was gonna.
He's won house show matches.
I knew that's weird. It's been a long time.
Just somebody throw out a random date.
I'll say June of 2021.
No, sir. Did you know
it's probably
that his last
decade, probably.
His last win was May 3rd of 2018 on Monday Night Raw when Cena defeated Goldust in 3 minutes and 47 seconds.
Oh, man.
So my point being is, yes, Cena getting 17 would be awesome. What other than what he's done over his career, what would be the point in giving him another title run?
So
like he has been booked as a loser.
I know, but Kyle, there's the Royal Rumble, and anybody can get a title shot if you can win the Royal Rumble. There's also he named a couple of things. He named that.
Who's he going to beat for the title? Is he going to beat Cody or Gunther?
Well, I don't think Cody will have it at that point. I think he may lose it before then. We're talking another year, but we're talking another year like down the road. I think he loses at Mania. He may not be Mania that he loses it.
But I'm saying if you give it to Cena, if you're going to give a title to Cena, that means you're taking it off one of your stars that is going forward past 2025. And knowing Cena, he's not going to want to do that.
He's not going to want to. But wouldn't you want to? Like if you're one of those top, and you'd be a part of history. They're going to talk about that forever. If you're in that match for 17, right? So KO, you wouldn't do that. You have the title. Cena, take it off of me. Now I'm immortalized with you, Cena. The 17th title.
In 2025, no, because Cena's he's done.
But he's still the greatest of all time, and now they're going to talk about that match forever because that's the match.
Don't disagree with that. But okay, it's like when Strahan broke the sack record, right? When Bret Favre basically fell down and let him sack him for the record. So is that how you want to get the record, by somebody just giving you 17?
But they gave him all 16 before that, if you're going to go with that theory, Kyle, because it's all scripted.
But but you know what I'm saying.
That's not necessary. Wow,
you know what I'm saying though. Like at least then he was performing every night, and he was the face of the company. He's not.
He acted like he wanted to earn it, so maybe they're gonna give him a little run where he gets on a roll. He's gonna be in the gym, build him up a little bit. I don't know.
Okay. I got a trivia question for you, KO. This is only for you.
Okay.
Who is the most self-absorbed, selfish person in the WWE today?
Selfish, most self-absorbed. Would it be Punk?
No,
McIntyre?
he's greatness. It's Dwayne.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, so me and Triple H were riding the next year the other day, and as I'm hearing you guys talk, let me just tell you. Let me throw some names out there. Listen, I have an 18-year-old and 19-year-old. They all love John Cena. The only reason I ever watch wrestling was because of John Cena, right? So when I was watching it Saturday night, and Luke was in the other room, and he comes out, and I saw his towel, and I was like, Luke, get in here right now. Like, you're about to see something. Like, him doing that at that moment was something you'll never forget, right? If you really care. So let's talk about some people I want to see him face in the next year. You mentioned Orton. Punk came out and said he wants it too, right? What about Sheamus? Remember when Sheamus first came to WWE, to the main roster? That was the big rivalry, and Sheamus destroyed him for a while. Cena and KO, you kind of forget those two went at it a little bit. I'd love to see Cena and KO again. Rollins, Reigns. What about the Wyatt Six? Remember, he had his little match. He had his run in with Bray.
That what was it? What they call that? Was that match?
Firehouse Fun, the Funhouse Firefly match.
That was the weirdest match I've ever seen.
Obviously, Roman would be someone you want to see him go against. What about Logan Paul? If anybody wants to shut Logan Paul up, wouldn't the WWE universe love for it to be John Cena?
Oh,
but here's what happens. We got all of 2025, right? So think about it like this. We get to WrestleMania, and there's the talk that Dwayne loves Dwayne, and Dwayne somehow ends up with the title, right? Let's say Dwayne ends up with the title at WrestleMania. He takes it off of Cody, if that's what happens, or however it works out. If you're going to give the belt to Cena the 17th time, you have the first ever 2-night SummerSlam. Rock has the belt. Cena wins it. Cena can win 17, and then you still have Cody can win the Money in the Bank in July. Now Cody can take it off of Cena, or some you know what I mean. Somebody can take it off of Cena that way. You have the whole year to work with, right? But I think if you're going to take the belt off somebody and give it to Cena, I like what you're saying. I do agree, Bret. They need to give it to him, but you can't afford to do that at the expense of Cody or Damian or Seth or any of those guys. You can do it at the expense of Dwayne, because if you I haven't watched the documentary yet, but I've read the cliff notes, and Dwayne loves to take credit for everything that's going on.
Oh,
that documentary was a sham.
The YouTube
it was a sham.
Oh, I loved it. It was great. I enjoyed it. So
give the belt to the Rock. Let Cena take it from the Rock. Have one more Cena Rock match. Good grief! How big of a deal was that at WrestleMania 2 years in a row? And then you have 2 nights of SummerSlam next year for the first time ever. You can give it to somebody the second night. Even you can do whatever you want to do. But I think I do think that to give it to him. I think that's a logical explanation. Could Dream World? Would you let us see him against Tripp one more time? HBK, The Undertaker, Lesnar. But I think Cena Rock sells the most tickets if they do it one more time, and if it's for the belt.
I think there's an asterisk on Cena. Like, normally, I wouldn't be up for this, like putting the older wrestler that's over on somebody. But I think this is the asterisk to one of those. This is just, it's a special deal to me, and I don't think it's gonna make anybody look weak. I mean, even though John Cena hasn't wrestled, but he hasn't really trained. They could sell it as he hasn't been full-time wrestling. Now he is. He trains up for Matt. He's ready to go. Like, he's been coming in for one-off matches and here and there, coming back and forth. So they can sell it that way. And I don't think anybody's going to say, stop watching wrestling because John Cena gets a 17th title. I just don't. In normal circumstances, I would agree with you, Kyle. I see what you're saying. Like, you don't want to. Cena is an old guy. You don't want to, beat somebody that you're trying to prop up. But I just don't think it's a normal circumstance. This is like a once in a.
But Cena's legacy is going to be putting people over, right?
Yeah.
Think about Austin Theory. I mean, I just think that I don't think Cena is egotistical enough to do that. You got to remember too, they killed Undertaker's streak. That was something we thought there's no way that ever ends, and he leaves with a loss on his record, and we never thought that would happen. So I don't think they have to give it to him. I think they should. I agree. He deserves to be the guy who holds it the most times. There's no doubt about that. Like, the WWE, who knows where it's at right now if he doesn't come in when he did 20 years ago, 25 years ago, in my opinion. So maybe they'd be just fine and it'd be somebody else. But
there was some rough wrestling to watch during some of those stretches. That he was the only reason I watched for several different stretches. I mean, I know it's hot right now, but you guys remember it was ugly for some stretches. There wasn't any competition. It got really boring at certain stretches, but there was always John Cena. I'm gonna tune in. What's Cena gonna do? So he just carried on back.
You think he took Ryback and Tarver and all those guys and the Nexus group and carried WWE for a year with that storyline? And look at where those. I mean, other than Bray and Wade, what'd you get out of that?
Barrett. Bad news, Barrett.
I mean, he carried the company. I mean, who would the fans be today? The group of people who are, I guess, what age now? 20, 30 to 15. They don't know anything different, right? Like, that's why they follow the company at all. And there's a lot of bad dudes in wrestling. Like Vince McMahon's a prime example. There's a lot of bad dudes involved. He's one of the good dudes in general. And so, not just heel or face, but like, he's genuinely a good person that people love following, and I think he deserves that.
And I'm glad they did. I'm glad they didn't. But I was actually shocked once he came out and started talking. I'm shocked we didn't get a heel interruption. I'm glad they didn't do it for this one. But most of the time, Cena comes out and talks, and because he did the one in England or wherever, and Grayson Waller came out, and so I was surprised that there wasn't one. But I'm glad for this one they didn't.
And let me just clarify: huge John Cena fan, love Cena. And everything that y'all are saying, like, yes, when I first started watching wrestling, I watched because of John Cena. And then I learned everybody else. John Cena, Rock, Stone Cold. And then I learned everybody else on top of that. But if 17 happens, great. All I'm saying is don't force storylines to make it happen. If it happens and you fall into it, excellent. But don't derail somebody else's momentum just to give Cena a title.
Well, the good news is Kyle got time. I mean, it's not like he's not even going to start this little run until the first of next year. So they've got some time to figure out how they want to do it.
But how are we going to do Rock and Cena again when their WrestleMania match was titled Once in a Lifetime and we did it twice?
Hey man, I don't wrap the whole story. I just give you the outline.
Here's right, Kyle. Show me the money. I mean, how many people are going to pay? Like, just do you think The Rock? Yeah, this is a totally different. Like, how many years ago has that been? It's been probably 10 plus years ago.
2012. Yeah, it was 12 years ago.
So I mean, you bring Rock in. He's doesn't wrestle a whole lot. So you got your normal fans, and you got those extra fans that want to see The Rock. Well, now you add John Cena. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, that's just.
And they set it up beautifully at WrestleMania. They had their interaction. Right? Like, I don't think they knew that was coming. Maybe they did or they didn't. Triple H says that Cena came to them with this a while ago. So I think maybe 4 months ago they knew.
True. I hadn't really thought about that, but they did go face to face in the main event.
If this comes true, I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to call myself the professor. But
Professor Hubbard. Okay, it's got a nice ring to it. You should even change your Twitter handle to Professor Hubbard. That'd be
no.
Oh, but I mean, we'll go back to the match. But this was awesome. I had heard there was going to be a lot of surprises. This was not one that I thought was going to happen, and it was a pleasant surprise. I'm excited for all the possibilities, and we just brainstorm all kinds of stuff here. But there's so many things that they can do with this, and so I'm excited to see what matches we get, and that's going to be the thing. Is he going to win it? That they've got. He didn't say no. He didn't say yes. It was just kind of like they were going to see. And so I'm excited.
He said he had to earn it. Is what you would think he would say. I have to earn that.
Yeah. And so we'll see how it goes. But it's one of those things like you get a little insert of a book and you have to wait, so long. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. It's just kind of a little drop of a hint like, hey, I'm coming back. We'll see who I'm going to face. They didn't go out and say anybody, so I'm excited to see where they go with it. Next match on the card, the botch of the year goes to Damian Priest. My goodness, I hate it for him, but man, I kind of wasn't paying attention when I was live. I was watching it, and I was like, wait, he didn't kick out, and the ref stopped the count, which. With all the stipulations, you really couldn't that they had in play. He had to, but man, it looked really bad. The press conference, I don't know if y'all saw that expert, but Triple H basically called it. He said, "Yep, people make mistakes." Like he didn't blame. He just did. It happens, and so I don't know if he may have just. I don't know if he was shaken up or if he thought the music was going to hit or what was going to happen, but. It was really bad. I've seen some bad ones, but he didn't move at all. Like he was just down when the ref counted and stopped, and the ref didn't count 3. Of course, we know what happened there. The match was interrupted by our man Drew McIntyre, and so guys, I don't know. We all kind of knew it was coming here, and still. I wasn't a fan of this. I mean, it kind of gave me whenever they didn't the botch spot, kind of, I was like, oh, that's messed up. And then the music hit, and I knew where they were going with it. But now I was hoping that Finn would come out maybe, and I'm ready to get this Judgment Day. They've been teasing it a long time. Finn's gonna do something and mess with Damian at some point. Maybe it's SummerSlam. I don't know. But I was hoping that he would come out and interfere with this and add a little other spin to it. I was hoping there would be a little more. I knew Drew was coming, but I was hoping there would be something else.
Yeah, I thought it was coming too, because right before the match, they showed the locker room segment, and like Damian said, I don't want any of y'all to come out, or I want to do this on my own. And Finn gave him like a little look and said, "Whatever you want, boss." And then when Damian walked away, gave him that little scowl, that Finn scowl, and I was like, okay, something's gonna happen. And so and it's coming soon. And but yeah, I thought it was happening the other night.
Listen, I don't know. I think it was a combination. I'm not going to put this all on Damian. I think production had something to do with it too. As stupid as this sounds, Drew's music going off in the middle of that count would have stopped the ref's count. As dumb as that is, it's just as dumb as when somebody's on the top rope and they hear music and think, "What? Just do your move off the rope there all the way down at the what are you doing?" So I know what WWE was trying to do is have his music hit in the middle of the count and it freak everybody out. But production screwed up their timing. And then Damian was trusting that the music was going to hit, so he didn't move, when he probably should have when he saw the ref's hand coming down for 2, probably should have just, at least budged his shoulder.
He didn't even move at all. Like it was just there wasn't nothing.
But he didn't look groggy. Like he didn't look glossed over. He didn't look like he was knocked out, but he moved his fingers at the end, and then you saw him lean up and immediately say something to Seth and to the referee. So that's why I think it was more of a botch on the production end, because the ref did what he had to do. Because if he would have counted 3, then Seth is a champion. You don't get the triple threat match with Drew. Then if Punk interferes, it's a disqualification.
Judgment Day is gone.
Out of the Judgment. Yeah.
So really screwed up.
Ref did the right thing. But I think it was a combination of both. Maybe maybe Damian should have at least budged a little to make it look a little convincing. But I think the music didn't hit in time. And it sucks because it was a good match. I think it was a really good match up until that point. But that botch is all anybody's going to be talking about because it screwed up everything. But I think it was a good match up until that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the match was great. I do hate the way that's what we're talking about. I think even Triple H alluded to that in the press conference, which is unfortunately in this match, that's what's going to be discussed more than what happened in the match. I hate it. You knew Damian was going to win. 2 things about it. Number one, I have zero interest in Damian and Gunther. They're going to have to really make me care about it. As of right now, I don't. I'm just 2 guys that I know you guys think a lot of both of them, and I think they're great workers. I just had no interest in watching them fight each other for sure. Secondly, it leaves Seth in this weird place. Like, what's he going to do now? And I think you guys are probably right. He probably takes some time off. He was off and they needed him, so he came back. But I will say this, regardless of everything else, CM Punk and Drew is as hot as any, it's CM Punk MJF level to me right now. With a lot less swearing and a lot less blood at this point. But I think that, man, I'm excited what's going to happen with Punk and Drew. I think that it just.
Do you think Seth could interfere in that match?
Yeah,
extends their feud. It gives Seth something. I don't know.
Yeah, I did see somebody mention. One of you guys mentioned this a minute ago about him being the guest referee. I read that on Twitter somewhere this weekend they think maybe a possibility we get at SummerSlam is Punk and Drew with Seth as referee. And then you know what's going to happen. And here's the thing, it once again just builds, and maybe it's part of it, maybe it's not. But think about when CM Punk first came back last year and how mad Seth Rollins was at the moment. In real time, he walks out and he's losing his mind, right? So I think there is, I don't know if there's real life heat between the two, but there's long lasting heat between the two, at least on the show. So I think Punk and Drew's hot, and you insert Seth in the middle of that somehow. How does he play a role? I don't want to see him. Ultimately, you need to end this thing inside Hell in a Cell or something like that. But I think he gets involved with it maybe at SummerSlam to some extent, or maybe put all 3 of them. Have we had Have we had a three-way Hell in a Cell match? I don't know if we have or not, but
I
think
don't
about
know.
Drew and Punk and Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell. That'd be
sign me up right
awesome.
now.
Yep.
With some Moxley type blood in there.
That's better than.
Well, that's one thing. If this Drew and Punk match happens at Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood, we better well see some blood in that match. I know WWE doesn't do it much, but if there is ever a time to show some color on TV, that is the time to do it. This feud is deserving of blood.
What do you mean?
A blood feud.
Chad Gable got shot in the head on Monday Night Raw. What do you mean?
That's a good point. We saw a murder.
He was cleared. He was cleared the next week to wrestle. Go figure.
We saw a bunch of murders. We'll get there in a minute, I'm sure. But we saw a bunch of murders.
WWE, baby.
No blood, but death is encouraged. They'll be on Netflix. Yeah, they'll be on Netflix in January. It's okay. It's coming.
But that has to have blood in that feud. I mean, if not, then what are we doing all this for?
They've already had some. They had some on SmackDown a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, when he beat CM Punk up, he brought him out.
Yeah.
He had blood.
That's true.
On him.
But I get it.
Like, we should get some buckets.
But we need it in a match.
So you want blood to come from the brood from the ceiling, Kyle? You need buckets?
No, but we do need a Moxley style match.
Yeah, we also can have a PLE called Bad Blood and have no blood.
Yeah.
They didn't call it bad scrapes, bad bumps, bad bruises, bad blood.
They're calling it bad bloodline because I have a feeling there's going to be some blood shed in that match, whatever kind of match there is. So yeah.
But sign me up for Seth, Drew, and Punk Hell in a Cell. Give me some of that right there.
I like that. All right, women's Money in the Bank ladder match. To me, this was the match of the night. To me,
match of the night.
Man, there was some spots in this match. The spot that Zoe Stark took, my gosh, I thought she was dead. I mean, so
did she.
It was like whoop, but the encouraging thing, if somebody asked Triple H after the show, and he said there was no serious injuries, just scrapes and bruises. I was like, man, I don't know how. That was an incredible spot off the ladder. The shot that Chelsea Green, man, you can say what you want about Chelsea Green, but that was a heck of a spot she took. And I wouldn't have mind her winning because I think they could have done some cool things with a belt with her as well. She was my second favorite behind Tiffy Time. But man, those spots, those women deserve all the props.
The one power bomb I think I saw on the ladder. I don't remember who it was. But the Zoe Stark spot, holy cow! Or the Chelsea Green through the. I mean, when you watch that, like it was almost. Even Cole said it best at the end of the match. He's like, it was uncomfortable. It really was uncomfortable to watch them do that.
Did y'all see some of they've been showing their reactions lately? Kind of like the cam we did, Kyle, at the regional tournament where they had it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. They did that.
Yeah.
Kudos to them though, man. Like the women's division in WWE has kind of been pooped on a little bit. Like it's not that great other than the top. I'm gonna tell you, those 6 put on a show, and it was fun to watch.
And you know who's not here right now? You guys, Charlotte Flair has been out for injury for a while. Becky Lynch is not there right now. She's taking a break. You know, Sasha Banks is gone. So you got out of the 4 horsewomen that were, pretty much the main cogs of their division for the longest time. You only have Bayley right now that's there wrestling.
Yeah. I thought it was a great match. I mean, I know you guys, we could go on and on about it forever, but I think the bumps were great. I think Tiffany winning is the best scenario in the long run. Like, I think she's so hot. People, okay. That's not what I meant.
You and that.
I mean,
you have to watch your words there, Jeremy.
That's not what I meant. She's so
accurate though.
She's so over right now. She's so over that I think that was the right person to win. And so
that's Ludwig Kaiser's woman.
Yeah.
Lucky man. Anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on. It was match of the night. A beautiful car crash is the best way I could describe it. Like, it was uncomfortable. I told my parents that. I've said it to people I've talked to about. It was uncomfortable to watch. Like I was sitting there watching. I was watching it with Jereme, not Coach Hubbard, but I was watching it with Jereme at his house, and I looked over at him at one time. I was like, somebody's going to die. Like somebody's going to die in this match. Like it is. Zoe, bless her heart, she tried to do a suplex on Lyra onto the ladder, completely missed the ladder. Only Lyra's elbow hit it. And then the very next spot, she tried to do a flip onto it and just smashed her head on the ladder, completely missed Lyra. And then, bless her heart, she gets a Michinoku driver right through a ladder bridge. Like, I mean,
they use the mess out of those ladder bridges. Like usually those spots they hit them and they break and they go, but they use those same like the whole match and it never broke. It was like they just kept hitting them and hitting them and hitting them. I was like, man, this.
And I love Chelsea Green is growing on me. Like I think I was sick of her gimmick at first. Like it was annoying, but she's won me over. And for her to take a hellacious bump like that off the top of the ladder through 2 tables was, I mean, it's to me when people that say they don't like wrestling for whatever reason, I show them spots like this. Like think of everything that had to go right for this person not to kill themselves falling off this ladder. Like they had to they know where to set those tables up to push the ladder just the right way. So there's so much that goes into it that people don't see. Like, yes, big fall off the ladder, big fall, boom. Like awesome. But everything that went into that, and then her to have the guts to just put her hands behind her head and say, I'm just going to take this bump. When we saw Adam Copeland a few weeks ago, mid-jump off top of a cell, have second thoughts, and he breaks his leg. Like, you have to fully commit to this stuff, and every woman in that match did. It was phenomenal. I can't think of a better women's ladder match that I've seen other than that one. I mean, maybe that's recency bias, but I think it was an excellent match. I watched it again on Sunday just because I enjoyed it so much. It made me uncomfortable again on Sunday, but
there was a good mixture of women in there too. That so you had some that you had Tiffany with the gymnastics background, Io Sky's she's great through the air. You had the MMA Zoe Stark. You just had a lot of different types of wrestlers in there, and I enjoyed the nice mixture. And like y'all were saying earlier, they didn't really have that top wrestler. It was all these women you could have seen them winning it, kind of give themselves a chance. Even Naomi, you'll see the spot where she was between the 2 ladders and then she did a move. That was pretty incredible. I mean, goodness. But they just had a really good mixture, I thought, and it made for a really good match.
Yeah, because I'm not a Naomi fan at all, but I like her in these type of matches. This Royal Rumble, I like her in these matches. I don't really want to see her in a one-on-one singles match, but she's great in she's good in tag teams, but she's really good in Money in the Banks and Royal Rumbles. She's a really good, kind of like a Kofi Kingston almost, a real good specialty wrestler. And
wait a second, where's this Naomi slander coming from?
I just said I'm not the biggest fan. She's won a couple titles. I don't think she's a main Carter. I think she's a good depth to the women's division, but she's better in specialty matches and tag teams. I don't think she's a mid Carter. She's not Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, those type. She's good for what the role she's in, and but I didn't, they pushed her a couple times, and I didn't think like that, but she's great, and I'm trying to give her props in this match. She adds a lot to these type of matches.
I'm kind of over her gimmick, honestly. I wish she'd do like a heel turn.
Well, I kind of like the one she came back a little bit different. Like it's still the glow thing, but her music changed. Her music's better now, but I'm over that too. Like, I think my biggest thing with her is her finisher is not believable. That, I think that's always been my biggest thing with her. Her finisher isn't believable.
Well, neither is Liv's. Oblivion doesn't look believable to me. But the thing with Naomi, I think you say a heel change or a heel turn, maybe not a heel turn, but we got this and I'm sure we'll talk about it, but a new bloodline forming. The OG bloodline is reforming. Maybe they need a female in it. Naomi would fit perfectly in with the bloodline. She's literally married into it.
Yeah. That would be good for, I mean, just a different than the character. Something different. Like, I feel like she's had that glow, you know, wears and glowing stuff and comes out all happy. I mean, I feel like that's been a while. And she's not like Cena, where Cena was selling he's selling tickets, getting these kids. I don't think that she's doing as much of that. Like if Naomi wasn't on the card, people would still show up. So she needs something new. But I'm with Brandon. I like she's cool in those specialty matches, ladder matches, you know, TLC, Rumble, those kind of special matches. She always can pull off something pretty cool. I like the way they did that. I'd never seen that where someone was on the ladder like that and they pulled the ladders apart and she still was able to do a move. That was it hurt me a little bit because it looked painful, but it was a pretty cool move. All right. Main event. The Bloodline versus the Avengers, I guess. That's what they call them, the Avengers. I think that's what I heard him call them.
That's what I would call them.
Okay, so, I mean, the Bloodline won. We saw the match. I was disappointed that we didn't see any surprises in this match. It was just a straight up, you know, numbers game. Bloodline they had 4-on-3 basically. They had Tongalo on the outside. Now, did y'all see where he hit his head on the table?
Yeah, but Tongalo is garbage.
Did y'all see the low blow he swung and missed on the low blow?
He hit KO's butthole and then he hit Tama Tonga's head.
That was pretty bad. Now, but before that, he hit his head. He looked, I don't know if it was, he looked like he was a little dazed. Like, I don't know. No, I'm not going to give him any excuse,
That's his
but it
normal
did look okay. I saw some other clips though of him, some other spots online that were some pretty rough spots, but Bloodline wins. I was just disappointed. I was looking for somebody to come out. I didn't know if it was going to be, I didn't think Roman was coming yet. I didn't think it was time for that, but maybe like Jimmy or somebody to come out, maybe add another person. I don't know. I was just looking for something and they keep hanging on to this. Now tell me, what do you guys think of the newest member of the Bloodline 2.0? He's pretty crazy. Like he's very agile and got some great moves. I like Fat.
Yeah, that's why they held off on him for a little bit.
Yeah, to me, he was the star of the match. Like he got the most out of the match in what he was able to do. I do say this. I don't know why you're surprised about no surprises. Think about how long they drug out the Bloodline stuff. Like I remember every PLE we were saying, all right, something's going to happen, and nothing ever happened. It just kept being the same thing.
I guess because I just had heard some surprises were going to happen. Of course, the Cena one was, I guess, the big surprise, and that was probably.
I think here's my concern with this story, and if you remember, I had the same concern a while back, and now they've made it worse. The biggest, other than the Bloodline, the biggest thing we had growing up, KO, was what? The NWO. When the NWO came out, it was the best thing out there, and it was just a few guys. And then you look up 6 months later, and there are 32 members of the NWO. And it lost what it was supposed to be.
Every week somebody was joining. Oh, the newest member, they're going to rip the shirt off.
They lost. I mean, we had guys like Virgil, Scott Norton, like Test. Like there were guys, there was the guy that looked like Diamond Dallas Page, but he was like Road Dogg. I don't even know what he was. Like there were people you couldn't even pick out, but it was because they had to have somebody like they did Saturday Night Main Event or whatever. We got to have somebody on there NWO where people won't watch it. Like nobody cares about Scott Norton. Okay. Now, to me, I don't want us to get to that point because we're going to get new Bloodline versus OG Bloodline. We're going to get there. But can we just keep it 7 or 8 guys? Like, you read on Twitter, they're bringing all the Fatus over here. Like, there's one whose name literally means taller Fatu. Like, we don't need that. You already brought too many guys. You already brought some guys in that can't wrestle. You had it perfect. You had Solo. Now you got who I love, Jacob. Like, I'm all in on Jacob Fatu now. I like, he's got a great nickname. He's got the great look. He's got the great music. Like, I'm all in on that. I think he's better than Solo. That's my opinion. I still, when I watch Solo, I'm like, how can Solo be in charge of any group of people in the world? Okay, but we need Roman and Jimmy and Jay versus Solo and whichever Tola Tonga Tamu can actually wrestle and Jacob. That's who we need. We need the. But if we're gonna get it, like we can't expand the blood. I mean, I know their bloodline is huge, right? Like next we're gonna have Haku and whoever in a match. Like, come on, man. Like, more is less. Less is more. Like, we got to remember that about this. And I just don't want us to head down the NWO path where the NWO lost, like it was the hottest thing ever in wrestling, and then it lost its luster because everybody in WCW was in it. Except
well, at least this is
well, even Sting was in both at the same time somehow. I don't even know that happened.
At least this is like totally different than a year ago. Like we got different players, and so at least it's a little different.
We'll have Virgil and Scott Norton on Monday Night Raw next week. Like, well, I guess we can't. I think Virgil died, but I'm just saying, like, let's don't get there. Like, let's don't do that. Okay, like let's don't ruin it. Like,
well, we were talking. I don't remember what show it was, but it's been a while back that we were kind of like, okay, where is this going to go? How can they sustain this? They've done a good job so far. I mean, when did can y'all remember what? So it was when Roman got the right about when they started this. So well, he didn't have the bloodline at first. They didn't call it that, at least. But I mean, we're 3 years in, at least 4.
I'd say at least. I'd say it probably started 2021-ish,
and
right after COVID, I think.
And it's
they came out of the Thunderdome,
and it's a totally different deal than it was then. They've done a good job of not staling it so far. We thought it might get stale for a while when it was Jimmy and Jay, and then they were able to. Solo came in and kind of breathe life in it. Remember, we didn't know he was a big shocker. None of us really expected him. It was kind of before. No one. I guess they kind of had rumors, but he was a pretty big shock. He came out and extended the whole deal. I haven't gotten bored with it yet. I'm still excited about what's going to happen. They do a good job of playing it. I just kind of thought that because I thought Jamie was going to show up because it was 4-on-3. I thought they show up and kind of because you got to have Jimmy and Jay back at some point. But do they not come back together until Roman? I guess Roman's probably the kingpin that's going to start the whole thing. I guess I don't know.
So, but also, Jimmy was busy that day, so he couldn't come. And same with Roman. Roman's dad's funeral was Saturday.
Right.
Like Jay wanted to go, and they said, "No, you've got business to do tonight." So in Money in the Bank, and said, but the rest of them were at the funeral, so that's why we didn't get, because we probably were going to get Jimmy if Roman's dad doesn't die. We probably do get Jimmy either at SmackDown or at Money in the Bank, but now it'll probably be now at SummerSlam.
Do they hold Roman off until SummerSlam, or does he return before then, y'all think?
Yeah, I don't know.
SummerSlam.
The other thing we got out of it, Brandon, you're right. The other thing we got out of Roman's dad passing away in the funeral was now we got the extra heat with what they did to Paul Heyman. They had to get Paul Heyman off TV so he could go to the funeral, which is where he was. That just adds another layer to it. And now I think you get Roman back quicker now. I think it'll be quicker. I think he will have a match at SummerSlam. I think we'll see him here.
Do you think so? Who do they get as their wise? I keep waiting to see who their wise man is going to be. I thought maybe like one of the older, like maybe
Haku, man,
or Haku, like somebody comes back and is there.
Haku was a bad man, by the way. Let's just he was one of the original bruisers. Like I wouldn't want to face that dude in Dark Alley. Maybe that's who it is.
How about we make Tonga Loa the wise man so he doesn't have to get in the ring anymore?
Yeah, he and
Tonga Loa
Heyman
was garbage. He at Backlash or whenever he appeared, he was late coming out of the ring to stop. Like what is he even there for? Because he's Samoan? We could get Zilla Fatu or Taller Fatu or Haku or Hoku, whoever we need.
Hikuleo signed, so we'll get him soon. And they're calling him something Tonga too. So.
Who signed? You said
Hikuleo.
Oh,
he's like 6'9".
Oh, okay.
That's the taller Tonga one.
That's taller Tonga, who was in AEW for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, here's a couple things. So we know Roman's going to come back for Solo soon, and Heyman, someone's going to come back for Heyman's vengeance. Roman's going to have his own vengeance. I don't think he's come back for Heyman's. What if Heyman shows back up with Brock to take out Solo eventually?
Oh.
I don't think Brock's coming back to WWE.
Yeah.
Well, the way Triple H talks in these press conferences, I do. Triple H talks about him a lot in these press conferences, and he said he is coming back.
Oh,
unless something new happened last week.
I don't see
anybody that's in any involved in that.
Right, but since that they've asked him, and Triple H has even said, like, he said, yeah, he's out for right now, but he will be back. He said I think they've kind of.
Well, there's so many Samoans. They don't need Brock Lesnar. They could bring.
We don't need Brock in this story.
Well, Brock is because of Heyman, but also, so we know at War Games you got to have 4-on-4. So the new bloodline has their 4. If it's not another Samoan, is Sammy the 4th with Jimmy J and Roman?
Well, you got to think about it. As much as they're bringing real life into this, guess who's the biggest Paul Heyman fan out of the whole company?
CM Punk.
CM Punk.
But he's got his own thing. But there is Zilla Fatu's on NXT. So you have somebody already in NXT that can come up and be the 4th member for the OG Bloodline. I know he's not an OG Bloodline member. I get it. But he can be a part of their blood. Maybe he has beef with Solo or with Jacob Fatu.
And then you got to forget the final boss is not. When is he going to show back up? And how is he fit into this? Does he? I mean, is Rock pulling the strings?
See, Jeremy. This story has so many more layers to it. I understand you don't want it to get overcrowded. I get that, and I understand that. But I don't think it will, because I think we're still going to have these interchanging parts. Like Jimmy's not on TV right now. Paul's not on TV. I think it'll interchange.
I think Dwayne's their wise man at the end of the day. I think Dwayne has been pulling the strings with
Solo.
Yeah. I think we're getting – now the problem is, does that mean Dwayne's going to wrestle? Because then you got the number game is even more skewed in that regard.
Well, they'll have somebody else that'll show up.
What about Cena? Cena could come back and be on the OG Bloodline to face Rock.
Well, I mean, it could be Cody. It could be, I mean, Cody and Rock have beef, right? Rock tells Cody, I'm coming back for you. So
yeah, but Cody and Roman have beef too. So I don't know if they'll actually.
Cody and Randy Orton surely have beef. That match is coming, right? I mean, so you know, come on, man. It's Bret brought it up. It's scripted, right? Bret, thanks for bringing that up. But whatever sells tickets, and you put all those guys in a match, it's going to sell tickets.
Yeah,
they're going to sell tickets either way.
But there are a lot of layers. I agree with Kyle. I mean, they can go a lot of places with this. And I think
you don't know which way they're going. It's unpredictable at this point.
And there's so many. I think what makes it interesting is they're using the bloodline, the family. I think that's what makes it more. It's not some random Joe off the street, like what y'all were talking about earlier. Just random people. They're actually in this family, and the family feud that sells. I mean,
if they pull this off and it doesn't ever get that way, it's got to be like the greatest wrestling storyline ever, right? Like, they've been telling this story for 4 years, and we're still watching. We're literally, if you miss Raw Live, you're fast forwarding to see when they come out, or SmackDown or whatever. Like 4 years in, name another one's went 4. Like I said, year 4 of NWO, we had Virgil and Scott Norton. I mean, Giant Gonzalez was in there, the Taskmaster, Dungeon of Doom. I don't even know. Glacier.
Oh man. Well, that was my first. I kind of planned that. That was the last match there of the card, and that was my first. Bloodline 2.0 was my first, topic that I kind of figured that was going to flow in. Second one, Rhea is back, guys. Wow, what a man! Dom is in trouble. And I've got a theory, guys. Not an Austin theory, but I've got a theory behind the whole thing. I think it's Finn Balor pulling the strings the whole time, guys. I think him and Liv are in this, and it's going to end up being, they're going to get to maybe Rhea, Dom versus Finn and Liv at some point in some kind of thing. I think he's the one that took the key. I think he's been letting Liv in and kind of behind the scenes trying to break up the whole whole dynamic. But I'm excited about this because, I mean, Rhea's been off TV and we've had this whole Liv and Dom. It's been hilarious, guys. I've enjoyed it. Like it's like every time she puts him in a bad spot and someone just happens to show up and catches him even though nothing was going on really, puts him in a bad spot. It's been great. It's been entertaining. I mean, I would have never thought 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, whenever Dominic Mysterio came on TV, we were like, this is terrible. We don't like him. He's actually one of the biggest characters on TV right now. I mean, you think about it, minus the bloodline and some of the Wyatt Six and stuff, like it's one of the reasons I tune in. I hate to say that, but it's like, what is Liv going to do this week that's going to get Dom in more trouble? Like I really, and he gets booed. He's got more heel heat than anybody. Think about this whole storyline.
I don't have a problem with what you're saying. I think there's some validity to it about Finn pulling the strings. But I think if it happens, it won't be Dom and Rhea against Liv and Finn. It'll be Damian and Rhea because Gunther's going to win the title. Damian's going to need something to do. And Damian and Rhea are the ones that are close, right? I think Dominic now just becomes what he should be all along, which is irrelevant. And you get Finn and Liv. So Finn and Liv have a background of being they were in maybe a tournament together, a mixed tag tournament or a mixed tag match. Like you've seen on Twitter, there's some long history between the two. So I like the theory, and Dominic is just the avenue to get there, and they're going to discard him when the Judgment Day goes away, and then maybe him and Dad can reconnect and be.
Who would have thought though that we'd still be talking about Dominic Mysterio though?
Oh man,
I mean, I didn't think it. I would have never thought he would be one of the reasons why. Not specifically him, but his story and with the Judgment Day has been very interesting over the last few years.
Is he ever going to wrestle? By the way,
he wrestles his dad every week or so.
I guess it was one of you guys. Did one of you guys share that on Twitter?
The meme thing. Yes, that was great.
Yeah, it's 2034, and Cena's gone, and Orton's gone, and Cody's gone, and the main event of Raw will be Dom versus Ray. Yeah, I'm tired of that one.
Man,
put him in the NWO Wolfpack. I'm done with that.
Oh, they were my favorite. I'm a team red and black. Sorry.
I think first off, Dom's a stronger man than me. I'd have folded on night one if Liv Morgan did that to me. I'm just saying, Dom is a better man than me.
Even if one of her toes is longer than the other one, right? You're in.
It don't matter. Do you see her? She is. Anyway.
Proves my point, Biggs. Proves my point. Go ahead.
But I am interested in this. I don't care about Dom. I don't like Dom. I think I'm with McAfee, Dumb Dom, whatever nicknames he has for Dom. Like and the heat he gets is just people booing him because I don't know. I'm over that too. Like, just let the man talk. Let him get out what he has to say. Every time he pulls the microphone up to boo.
It's just so funny though.
Piped in.
Yeah, let him talk. Let him talk and then get off the screen, please. Let him talk.
Exactly. Like I'm. The only reason Dom is relevant is because he's in Judgment Day. That's the only time he's been relevant is when he's with his daddy or when he's in Judgment Day. He's not relevant on his own because he's not a draw. Nobody gives a crap about Dom. Now, the only reason Liv is showing Dom all this attention is to get at Rhea. Liv don't care about Dom. She's trying to get at Rhea. Well, Mommy's back and Mommy ain't happy. And I cannot wait to see what Mommy does. You talking about giving reasons to tune in. I'm tuning into Raw just to see what Rhea does. I don't care what Rhea does and Wyatt 6 on Monday, and now the CM Punk and all that. Like, there are stories on Raw that you are worth tuning in for. Like, must-see television.
For the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Triple H. Thank you, Paul. But the storyline is good. But I think at the end of this, I think we get – here's my theory. I think we have an execution. Just like they excommunicated Edge out of Judgment Day, I think we have the same thing similar thing happen with Priest. I think they have Priest come out to the ring for something, and they get rid of Priest out of the Judgment Day. And then, I don't know, they probably don't bring anybody in, but then Rhea's probably going to side with Damian because she's seen everything that's been going on. And so then that brings up y'all's point with Rhea and Damian against maybe Dom and Liv, and Finn, the new head of the Judgment Day.
Well, I like that theory.
But I haven't cared about the Judgment Day until now. Like, this is making me care about it. Before I was like, it was just like it was filler, right? We needed all the stars.
It was getting stale.
Yeah.
It was getting stale for sure. And once Rhea went out and Liv got involved in this, it sparked back up.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Y'all mentioned a second ago, another reason why I want to tune in every week is to see if there's another videotape from the Wyatt Six, guys. The promos have been interesting. I don't know that we needed 3 weeks to do the whole promo. I think they could have probably packaged that into one. The last one was interesting this last week. They kind of finally started talking about the other members of the group. It wasn't just about Uncle Howdy talking back and forth to himself. I mean, I kind of got tired of that after the first. Well, I thought it was neat. It showed basically both personalities. You had himself kind of fighting for control. That's what I got out of it. I don't know if you guys got the same thing out of it. It was kind of fighting back and forth for control. But then the character development kind of showing, and they kind of named some things on some of the characters that the reasons why they didn't feel wanted. And it kind of actually went with some of their actual things on screen. I thought the Eric Rowan one was basically they said something about had a lot of loss, which I thought that was kind of the only member of the original Wyatt family still with us. It's so sad that that's the case. Just a lot of things they list. I thought that was really cool. And then you had the human Bo Dallas in the locker room there and waiting to talk to the general manager. I thought that was a cool way to leave it. Now I'm like, okay. It was funny that Gable had just left and said he was going to take care of them himself. And then Bo Dallas has just happened to be sitting in the general manager, Adam Pearce's locker room. So I'm really excited about this. I was glad they finally pulled the trigger because, that was one of the things my kids got really interested in this. The QR codes every week. Oh, where's the QR code going to be? So we always had to scan it, and finally they show up. I'm really ready for them to do something other than let's just take Nikki Cross out there and give a videotape to the announce team. I'm needing something else here. Whether they're trying to long play it, I don't know if it's because they just don't want to mess it up, so they're trying to take their time. But I'm looking for something else soon. The Play Me tapes was this 3 weeks in, right? On those, I'd like to see something. I really don't want them to mess this up. I think they've got one shot at this, and I'm really hoping they don't mess it up. So far, I'm in.
Yeah, Brett. I think this is a situation too where it's another kind of real life situation where a real life kind of forced their hand. But you said about 3 weeks of this. It might not have been a 3 week plan. It might have been a 1 week, but McAfee had to be gone for 2 weeks because his father-in-law died. And so he was gone. And they, there was the whole Wyatt Six McAfee story with his show. I mean, they've went layers to this. So we watched the Pat McAfee show anyway if we can, but we were really tuning in to see what's happening with the Wyatt Six. And so they added layers there, but McAfee was gone. This may have been a 1 week thing if he would have been there, but they had to eventually give him a tape. And so he wasn't there the previous 2 weeks. So we already have this plan. We'll do it or whatever. Who knows if it might have always been, but it's interesting to think that you said, hey, they could have did it in one. Well, maybe they were going to and then couldn't. But I think this is our first time we've talked since they've shown up. And, and you talked about, hey, it's one of those things is like when they first came, I'm like, you can't have them, or maybe some of them, but can you have them wrestle? I mean, is that something y'all want to see? Or because we haven't really talked since they've been here. I mean, what are we wanting to see from them? Do we want to see any of them wrestle, or can you have any of them wrestle?
Well, because we've all seen them. We've all, yeah, because if they're not going to wrestle in their big old mask, right? So we've all seen them like in other characters already. So have we like if it was like new people that we'd never seen, then it would be a little different to me. I don't know how y'all feel, but you come out now. I see Nikki Cross. I know Nikki Cross. I've seen her wrestle. That's who that is. Like, how do you? I guess all this new character.
But to me, that's why they're doing a good job of dragging it out, explaining why they're in this group. Like, it's not like they're not randomly putting these people in a group. Like, they're all here because they talked about at some point they were all kicked out of their family or they left their family or something happened. And so you're putting the backstories there to where it's, we kind of joked a minute ago about CM Punk and Paul Heyman. I mean, whatever. But like, what I think Triple H does well is taking it's not just this weird world of wrestling. It takes all things into consideration when he puts these stories together. And so all these people who, we know Nikki Cross, but we also know that Nikki Cross never really found her place. We know that, Joe Gacy was kicked out of his group. We know that Eric Rowan has been this. So, we know all those things. And so instead of just randomly like putting Kevin Nash out there in the Oz outfit, let's use those real life stories to make these people into these new characters that we can actually get behind and use, right? Like, I mean, in the 1990s, that's what you would do. You would just repackage them and put them out there. But now you don't have to do that. So, I mean, think about this. When the night they debuted in Corpus Christi, they were on Twitter. They were at Whataburger together in Corpus Christi, right? Like, in the 90s, you didn't have that. You have to take all those into consideration now. I think they're going to wrestle. I think they're going to wrestle soon. I think you will get Dexter and Joe and Eric wrestling before anybody else. I think there's a reason why they're starting with those three, introducing them the way that they did. Maybe you see them first. I'm worried about the wrestling piece too, because quite honestly, I don't know how great of workers they are. We're going to see who you can, is Chad Gable going to be the one you match him up with first? Obviously, that's what I think it'll be. Bo and Chad to start with at some point, but then who do the other guys take on, and how does that play out? Or do we get
his new alpha? I think, and maybe.
Oh man, you got to look at the story. Otis and Tozawa will be back.
So?
Yeah,
that's what I'd heard, that the Creeds were going to join up and they were going to form the new.
Well, they need more people, so maybe you get those people also. But I think Otis has proven over time he's just a good dude. He's gonna come back and help Chad out. Anyway, whatever. But the point is, like, I think that what you're saying is right, Bret. Where it's like, I'm going to see Dexter and Joe and Redbeard and whoever else out there wrestling, but that's part of what they've done, telling the story. And I think it'll be fine. I think we will all know that, and so they've planted that seed in our head to start with.
I've enjoyed the Wyatt Six being back, and I've enjoyed these tapes. It is being slow played, but that's the Wyatt way. Like, even Bray with the Fiend and all of his story, like, it was all slow play, and it gave you something weekly to look forward to. Soon, like next week or maybe SummerSlam. I'll wait till SummerSlam, but we got to see some action in the ring.
Yeah.
You can't just be characters, because that's what the Firefly Funhouse was. All these characters were puppets in the Firefly Funhouse, all imagination of Bray. Well, now these characters are real life. So, yes, let's see them in the ring, because now they're real life people that we can actually physically see. And as far as them being people we already know, even think about when people come back or when they do gimmick changes or heel changes or whatever, their move sets kind of change with that. So yes, it's still Joe Gacy, it's still Dexter Lumis, it's still Eric Rowan, it's still Nikki Cross. But I think there's things in the ring move set wise that they can do to differentiate from who they were, who we knew them to be. And I don't think they need to wear their mask, because just like Bo can wrestle as Bo Dallas and do all this behind the scenes stuff as Uncle Howdy. Well, the same thing can be true. Dexter Lumis can be Dexter Lumis in the ring and Mercy the Buzzard, like outside of the ring.
Alter ego type thing.
Yeah, I think do something like that. But I think they're getting. What worries me is this is the same issue that we had with Bray and the Firefly Funhouse. They gimmicked up all of his stuff. Like when he first was the Fiend, he had to wrestle in that horrendous red lighting where you couldn't see anything. Where Bray can actually wrestle in the ring. So why are you hiding that? Why are you trying to mask that? Let him work. But that was the problem with the Fiend. You had all this gimmick stuff around it. And then even the second time when he came back, Bray didn't have all the gimmick stuff around him, but Uncle Howdy was the gimmick. And I was there at the Royal Rumble with that blackout match that was stupid. Like, it's all that stuff's unnecessary. Just give us the people in the ring, give them and tell the story outside of the ring, but they have to wrestle in ring because that was the problem with Bray is they had all the theatrics down perfect. His presentation was phenomenal, but they wouldn't let him wrestle in the ring. You got no story in the ring. So I think to do it right, I think they're doing it right now. I'm okay with them slow playing it. I'm okay with all that, but you got to get somebody in the ring. And I think seeing Bo Dallas, not Uncle Howdy, seeing Bo Dallas in Adam Pearce's office gives me hope that we're going to see the real people in the ring, not these gimmicks in the ring. And as far as the Alpha Academy, if you've noticed in the background of these interviews backstage, Gable's talking to the Creeds. So there's something going on with the Creeds. I think you get Alpha Academy 2.0. I don't think Otis and them come back to help Chad. I think he gets the Creeds to help him, and maybe he goes against those three go against three of the Wyatt Six. You either leave out, Rowan, Loomis, or Gacy, whoever you want to leave out. But I think that's where that's going. I think there is a new Alpha Academy coming because Chad's got to have somebody. He can't fight them on his own. And right now, Otis and Tozawa are gone. So I think we see the Creeds and an Alpha Academy 2.0.
He'll talk Jay into not being scared of him, and Jay will be the fourth.
Hey, so
Yeet.
question. So the Wyatt Six, do we have a sixth member that shows, or do we think
No.
that's just going to be Bray?
I think Bray's the sixth.
Okay.
Bray's Spirit is the sixth.
Because I've heard Alexa Bliss as possibly coming back as maybe, but I don't know.
You already got a Sister Abigail. You don't need another one.
It would go against the concept of Nikki not having anybody because they were close.
Yeah.
I was just thinking because of the fact that she was kind of tied to Bray, originally. So.
Yeah, but I think that concept brings the six. And also changed it where they're called Wyatt Six. It's not number six. It's
the six. Yeah.
It's spelled differently. It's not the number six. So they've actually kind of changed that too. But I feel like Kyle said Bray's the six because he was there when it started.
Yeah. Well, I just thought of that. I've kind of gone back and forth with.
I mean, I'm with you. Alexa Bliss is part of this story. She was there at the start of this with Bray, but since you've already presented Nikki Cross as Sister Abigail, where does Alexa fit in at?
But she was never Sister Abigail, though. She already had her own character. That's why I thought she might, she could be the brains behind it all.
I mean, she could, yeah.
I don't know.
Well could. She could be Bray Wyatt in the darkness. Control. I mean, she could be. But see, that's the beautiful thing about it. Like, there is story here. There's something that you can sink your teeth into and actually discuss instead of just, oh well, yeah, we know what's gonna happen. We don't know what's gonna happen with this. We don't even know who they're targeting other than Gable.
Yeah, or then there's the theory out there they're not really targeting Gable, that it was really been Jay the whole time because every time it's happened, Jay's been around. I will say this about Alexa: if you believe her, she has come out in a couple interviews and said that she actually pitched her being a part of it to WWE, and they've kind of said they don't want her to do that. If you believe her, so but I think I do like the theory of maybe it's really not Chad they're after, it's really Jay. But then there's the McAfee piece. Right? Like, what does Pat have to do with it? Who, by the way, is the greatest person in media right now, other than KO and Brandon and Bret. But, I'm intrigued by the whole thing. I think the storytelling. We were talking about this off the air, right? Like a year ago, we were so hardcore AEW and the storytelling they were doing. and the things they were doing, and now it's almost like it's flipped. It's flipped. Now you're watching WWE because you don't know what's going on. AEW, you're like, let me just see what Ospreay does next or what Swerve does next. So it's the Triple H era is off to a very great start.
And just wait till the even that much more.
I'm glad my kids are older because that's going to be awkward. I think. I think there's going to be some awkward stuff.
I don't think it's going to be that bad. I don't think because they still have sponsors they got to answer to. Like I don't think it's going to be Attitude Era.
They won't be bleeping the entire show because of the crowd.
No, they won't be blacking out screens.
Yeah,
that's annoying to me.
I don't know if you read this. USA and Fox both are extremely pissed off about that. Like, Fox,
they don't need to put it out on us. They don't need to.
Yeah.
That night at Madison Square Garden when Heyman got destroyed, the first half of the segment was a black screen the entire time. Yeah. And if you want to mute out stuff, that's fine. Whatever. I get it. You want to mute things out. Don't black the screen. Like, that's stupid.
Yeah, it doesn't appeal to the end user here that's trying to watch the show. I mean, it's kind of annoying. Okay, so we've talked that. Do you guys have any other WWE points that y'all want to talk about?
Yeah, one big one in my mind. We were talking about this in a group text. Joe Tessitore coming to Monday Night Raw. Like, when I hear Joe Tessitore's voice, I'm just like, like this is where I'm supposed to be here when you hear Joe's voice. And I'm excited to see what it turns out to be. We were talking about this in a group text, right? Like, it's never worked out before when they've done this. But you got to feel like Joe is a little, like Joe's got he's done the fight stuff before, so he's got that voice and kind of that. But whole different thing.
So what was the guy's name that they had before?
Jimmy Smith.
No, the other guy. The other guy that was
Adnan Virg.
Huh?
Adnan Virg.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He was a baseball guy though.
Yeah, Joe Tessitore is on a whole different level than Adnan Virg.
Yeah,
I like Tess. I'm a big fan of Tess. And you're right, Jeremy. His voice is like butter. It's beautiful. But I told y'all in the group text, like Monday night, Cole and McAfee, they have a great chemistry. I love listening to them on commentary. Like, it's fantastic. And then on Friday, you got Graves and Barrett. I wasn't sure about that matchup at first, but I'm coming to enjoy it. And I love the two-man booth. When you listen to AEW, you got people talking all over each other. You got Taz, Excalibur,
they have like a two-man booth, Kyle. They have like 3 or 4, and then they have guest commentators.
It rotates.
That's too much. That's too much. Just keep it simple. And then at the PLEs, you got Cole and Graves. Awesome. If you want to add McAfee to that sometimes, fantastic, because McAfee and Graves have great chemistry too.
I wonder, Kyle, how long Michael Cole is going to continue to do this and not step back and do more of a producer behind the scenes. Because he's been like the voice of Raw for over 25 years, right? I mean,
since he had
almost 30 years.
I don't think he's leaving anytime soon. I think he loves it too much. I think that the Triple H era has really invigorated him and a lot of other people.
But you got to have somebody. I like Corey Graves. I like Corey Graves on color. I'm a fan of Corey Graves on color. I think.
Yeah, I think that might be more the thing is like Corey's never been the play-by-play guy, and Barrett's definitely not a play-by-play guy. I think they want to fill that spot and have them two in the color role.
I could see them Barrett and Corey Graves and Barrett going back and forth, one heel, one like I could see a great dynamic. And Tessitore.
They're both heels though. They're both heels.
Well, they kind of swap. They swap often though. Sometimes like you can see sometimes they swap, but it's hard for Corey because he's got a call to action too. So I think that's why they want to bring someone.
But they're forcing that. That's what I'm saying. Like naturally they're both heels. So I do like I'm not gonna crap on the idea. I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna let it play out because it's Joe Tessitore. I'm gonna give him a shot. But I mean, and maybe it'll work out on Friday. I don't think you need to touch Monday. Monday's great with Cole, McAfee, and Samantha Irvin. You don't need to touch Monday. Leave it alone. But if you want to do that on for Friday, I mean, try it out. And if it works out, great. But if it doesn't work out, then you always know you can still go back to Graves and Barrett, and you'll be okay.
And it's kind of a slap in the face to Fox too, right? Like, okay, you didn't want us. We could have had Joe Buck or Joel Klatt or Gus Johnson. Hey, by the way, what if Gus Johnson did Money in the Bank?
Oh my gosh. That would be that. Now that is, I would tune in for that.
You guys got Kool-Aid and didn't tell us? You got Kool-Aid and didn't tell us?
That's hurt my feelings.
Man, when we thought they missed out on this. They missed out on that.
That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome. Gus Johnson and Pat McAfee. Bubba.
Not Joel Klatt. Well, Kyle, I got to tell you, I talked to the quarterback and
we don't need Joel Klatt.
Dion
Give me Gus though.
Yeah.
Give me Gus.
Oh man, why has that not happened yet? We got to get on. We're starting the Twitter campaign tonight.
Okay.
All right.
Give me #Give me Gus.
Gus for Mania. Gus for Mania. Yeah.
Oh, all right,
dude.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with it. Anybody else got some WWE things that thought about? That was the end of my WWE list. I've got a couple of AEW things.
I believe in Joe Hendry. I just want to say that about WWE.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're pulling one over on AEW on Impact, by the way. They're sending Impact guys we've never heard of, and Impact sending them their guys, right?
Yeah.
Like they're pulling one over on them.
It's
great.
We
got about 3 minutes for AEW. Go ahead. That's what they do.
Well, I was going to mention in the broadness. We had a big Forbidden Door pay-per-view that lasted 10 hours and 8. No, it wasn't quite that long, but it was very long. Since we've talked, the Forbidden Door, I thought it was a really good show overall. There was some okay matches, but there were some really good matches. Obviously, the Swerve Ospreay match was just incredible. Jereme missed out on that. You got to go back and watch that match. That was definitely worth the tune-in price of admission. Since that was at Kyle, the price of the AEW shows lately.
It is. Let me tell you. Not only is it for AEW, I watched UFC 30 whatever the other Saturday night. That was phenomenal. Saw some phenomenal knockouts there. Watched Grayson Rodriguez pitch the other day for the Orioles when they played the Mariners for free. So that was cool. Watched my Rays the other day. I'm telling you, this Fire Stick gets a Joe Hendry thumbs up from me.
Wait until football season.
Brother.
Wait until football season.
I'm excited. I'm gonna watch the Eagles all the time.
Y'all are all welcome, by the way. Yeah,
Thank you.
But yeah, there was
that
some
works
good matches
for me, brother.
Is there any other matches on the card that y'all like? I know it's been a few weeks that y'all are like, man, this was a great match.
No, but Britt Baker's back, by the way.
Yeah, that is true. I'm already looking forward to the Monet Baker match. It's gonna be good. Speaking of being back, MJF is back. A reason to tune in on Wednesday nights.
The real MJF too, not the babyface MJF.
And he's going after Ospreay. I'm excited for that feud.
Do you what? Okay, let me ask you this: do we take the title off Swerve at All In and give it to Hangman?
I think Hangman's going to be joining the Elite, and he's going to be part of that. He's going to win the title, and they're going to have all the belts. I'm just going to what I'm thinking.
I don't want that. I don't think that Swerve deserves that. I think Swerve, especially after this Ospreay match, has kind of cemented his title run, and he needs to keep going. I think it would be a crappy move to take it off of Swerve now, just put it on Hangman for the Elite.
No,
I do too, but I don't want it to.
You know that the Elite were having this big announcement tonight. I saw on Twitter on Dynamite tonight. So we'll see how they're going to screw somebody over there. That storyline, it's just kind of like whatever. Are we going to get Shane McMahon in there somehow, or what are we going to do? I don't know.
Real quick on Shane McMahon. If you built your company, your literal foundation and motto is being the alternative, and you bring in a McMahon, that is the biggest slap in the face to your whole fan base that you could do.
Hey, could we we're going to go back to where McMahon shows up on one show and Triple H is on the other show, and it's like we own AEW.
They don't want it.
I would. It would be terrible. It would be a terrible idea. It would get ratings, which is what Tony wants. But the problem. Okay, listen. This is all I gotta say about AEW. Okay, because I'm about sick and tired of AEW. When we first started watching AEW, well, when I first started watching AEW a couple years ago, the stories were great. The in-ring action was great. It was must-watch TV every week. It was exciting. Now, like tonight, until you said something, Jeremy, I totally forgot Dynamite was on tonight.
Yeah, me
totally
too.
slipped my mind.
Me
like,
too.
didn't even think about it.
I'm going to tune in just because I want to see Will Ospreay. He's coming back. He's going to be saying something about MJF. That's the only reason I want to.
That's great. But here's my thing is Tony is a fan, which is great, but he's just throwing matches at us, which, yes, they're hitting. They're awesome. They're great. They're bangers. But, dude, like, you got to give me a reason to tune in other than seeing two people in the ring having a great match. Like, give me what happens after that? Like, what led up to that? What happens after that? How do you build on that? How do you build this new player? You're not building any of your own stars. You're bringing in all the ex-WWE people and getting them up. MJF, other than MJF, who is a star on the men's side that is at main card level? Maybe other than Hangman too.
Jack Perry.
Oh,
well, but he was built there. Now he's more over now. He's more over now than he's ever, like, with the scapegoat character. As much as I hate the way it all turned out, I mean, I'm not saying that's a great one. I'm just saying it's one of them. I mean, he's one of the original AEW guys. I mean,
Tony is becoming more like Vince every day.
I would agree with that.
The person he claims he despises, he's becoming more and more like Vince every day. And the product on TV is showing that.
It's because he's controlling everything and not letting everybody else input, and he's ruining it.
But it's a guy who has all the money in the world and can just continue to do as long as he wants to. Okay, but here's the thing that concerns me now that we're sitting here talking about it. I'm thinking about this. The big talk was, will Ospreay go to WWE? Right? Will Ospreay make the jump? As bad of a product as they're putting out, why was there really no serious talk out there about MJF going to WWE? And why would he choose to stay where he's at? Because if you look at where we're at now, I'm sorry, they could have paid him a lot more money. Not
more than Tony.
Well, maybe not today. Okay, but you take MJF to WWE, what kind of match is going to get out of him?
I don't think we get the same MJF.
Well,
but
in January.
Yeah, like in Netflix, wouldn't you want to see a MJF Cena rivalry on Netflix?
Let's get MJF and Punk going again. Here's all I'm saying. Like, did they have interest in him? Truthfully, that's what you almost have to think. Like, did they even have interest in him? Because Triple H has been very open and honest about Ospreay. Well, I'll say open and honest. He's talked about it, right? He hasn't really talked about MJF the way that he's talked about Ospreay or whatever. So I just think the product is not good. And a year ago, if you'd have told me one of these companies was in trouble, I mean, obviously WWE is never going away, but I would have told you that we would no longer be watching that a year ago today. And now it's like, I mean, a year ago we were having CM Punk and MJF in a dog collar match. We were getting ready for Adam Cole and MJF and that whole story, which was greatness at the time. And now it's just like.
But here's the thing: I think
it's a circus.
Without AEW putting the pressure on WWE, I don't think we have the product that we have now with WWE. If they hadn't have, it's forced them to up their game.
I think correlation is not causation, right? I think Vince McMahon being out of power is what got WWE where it's at right now. Yeah. I don't really think it's because of AEW. I don't even know if they care what's going on there. I'm sure they pay attention, right? They have to. But look at we've been to a couple of AEW shows, right? The crowd situation is true. The crowds are not good. The live crowds are not good. Maybe they're not as bad as what some of the pictures were showing, but there's no way they can continue to do that and be a serious threat. I mean, you look at Monday Night Raw, pick a random town in the country and it's packed. Like it's not even close. The viewership numbers aren't even close. So I think I think Vince McMahon getting out got us to where we were. I don't think it's so much AEW. I don't think they ever took AEW as a serious threat. I just don't think they did, because I think at the end of the day, it's almost like, look, we've been here for however long WWE's been here. And number two, look at who's running it, right? Like, not just Tony, but the Bucks. And the Bucks, I mean, don't you think Cody went to him at some point when Cody came back and said, hey, here's the deal. I'm back here because these guys are wanting to do something that is not what we started to do. I really think that's what happened. I know there's a lot of stuff out there, right? But I think what Cody was trying to do and what the Bucks wanted to do next were not the same. And I think Cody coming back was the nail in the coffin from the very beginning.
Yeah. Then he put that. He had the early stipulation, Kyle, where he couldn't even. He booked himself out of the title. Remember, he couldn't even go for a title, and so he was basically. Why was he even there?
And everybody wanted him to turn heel, and he wouldn't. Like, everyone wanted him to be a heel, and he wouldn't do it. But I will say, all that what you said is correct, Jeremy. Like, I don't think AEW has their own issues, and Tony Khan has their own issues. But I think the bigger issue now, or the biggest difference now, is no Vince McMahon. Mm-hmm. Because when Vince was in charge at WWE, AEW was the alternative because it wasn't Vince McMahon. But now that Triple H is in charge, WWE's white hot and AEW's down because now WWE is the alternative from AEW. And people that, like us, that watch both shows, you can tell the energy is completely different from when you watch a Raw or a SmackDown to when you watch. I don't even watch Collision. I quit watching Collision. I quit watching Rampage. I quit watching all that other stuff. Like, I just watch Dynamite. And all that to say, last week's Dynamite was awesome. It was a great show. It had story. They built stuff. In-ring action was great. But my issue is they'll have 2 or 3 weeks of good shows and then fall off a cliff. And then 2 or 3 weeks of good shows, fall off a cliff. Like, be consistent. And with the seating issue and the seats, if you're not selling that many tickets, get a smaller venue. Don't get a venue that holds 15, 17,000 people when you're only bringing in 5,000 or 6,000. Yeah, Go to a venue that holds 10,000 or so, and then it seems more packed.
Yeah, they're struggling at UTA. I mean, I went to a WNBA game there a couple weeks ago, and it was more packed than when we had AEW. I mean, just honestly, here's the thing about it. Look at the people working. Right, when you watch WWE now, you can tell those guys, especially the guys who have been there, they kind of have this new fire in them, and they're acting like they're performing in a way that they are enjoying working there again. Watch AEW. I don't think you get that, and I think that's flipped. I think it used to be that way. Number one, and I think it's got a lot to do with just the mentality of being there. And you know, here's the difference in the two companies. We're really talking about apples and bowling balls here, right? WWE has this. We're waiting on Roman to come back to get back with Solo, who's been disrespecting people, right? In AEW, you have Jack Perry, the scapegoat, who's disrespecting people, and we get Marco Stunt back.
Hey, I was excited about Marco Stunt.
That was funny, though. That was funny.
Right. It's funny. It's funny. It's not.
Yeah.
That's why it's no threat. You got a masked dinosaur and Marco Stunt going to take on Scapegoat, who comes out wearing a goat mask. I mean, really. By the way, he's not even any good. He's terrible. Jack Perry sucks.
And every week, and you talk about Forbidden Door, that's lost its luster because every week we have a Rent-A-Lucha that Tony wants to bring in. The Forbidden Door, the Forbidden Door is open every week now. So the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, what's special about that? Because and who from New Japan do we really want? We got Jay White. We got Will Ospreay.
We got everybody.
Who over there is name-worthy enough for us to care?
He's over here now full time.
Yeah, we got Okada, yeah.
Okada, like who else is open? So the whole Forbidden Door concept is garbage. Like it's useless.
The girl that the lady that fought Mercedes, she's signing with NXT now.
Oh.
Stephanie Vercourt.
Well, think about this. Like I don't even know, man. Like it's bad. I mean, we just you're right. The new part of the New Japan thing was seeing guys we didn't see before. Now they're on there every time. The other thing is this. We talked about this when it happened. They've killed Ring of Honor. We thought maybe he would fix it. He didn't. He killed it, which is what the fear was.
They just took all the belts so that they have more belts to give out to everyone. So You have a belt. I have a belt. Everyone has a belt.
I'm not going to watch any of this learning tree stupidity that's out there. But who's the big bad dude? The big bad dude from Ring of Honor that all of a sudden was with Big Cass and Chris Jericho. What was his name?
Brian Keith.
They built this up to be this big dominating guy, and now he's a clown. Like, what are we doing?
He's the bad apple.
He's the bad apple.
And we are all Chris Jericho's branches.
Please retire.
Dude, that's bad heat, brother. That's go away heat. And that
was another thing on that thing where there was the Mysterios are fighting in 2034, and someone replied in the 300,000 bad Chris Jericho segment.
Yeah,
I'm just concerned about my man's chest. In 2 more years, it's gone.
And it's almost a shoot gimmick. Like,
yeah,
he's in the ring talking about TV time, and he's talking about taking up all this. Yes, you're taking up TV time, and we don't want you on our TV. And he doesn't care. Like, he is out there just promoting this learning tree crap. Hi guys.
He just acts like, oh, he's just happy to be there, you know.
And they're not building new stars because they're giving all this time to guys who don't need it.
Oh man,
like AEW is a mess.
Listen, think about Orange Cassidy. He's a prime example in my opinion. I know he's still out there and he's still wrestling and all that. But a year ago, this dude was red hot too, right? Like, and it's almost like he's gone backwards in terms of his popularity because.
Well, I think that's because of overexposure. Every Dynamite started with an Orange Cassidy match. You could put it on your bingo card. You were going to hear. That's what I'm like. Overexposure. Like, you get tired of seeing the same wrestler wrestle every single week. Like, I don't have to see you every week.
I mean,
you have a full roster.
It's how you. It's all in how you book it, though. We're seeing the same guys in WWE every week.
Yeah, but they're in different stories. They're not. But Orange Cassidy, there is no story. It's just, hey, here's a match to open the show. Get it started.
I know, and that's part of. I just think like there's some guys that they could really build in. Like, when's Sammy going to come back, for crying out loud? Like,
when's Jamie Hayter coming back?
If they're smart, never. They're trying to negotiate out of it right now. They're like, can we please go to New Japan so nobody has to watch us be bad?
Or Impact, we can wrestle in front of 12 people.
Please.
Yeah.
Well, I am looking forward to Bret and Mercedes, though.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
And that's the next big event. I was just looking at the calendars here. They got Blood and Guts. Of course, it's a Wednesday night on the 24th. I think it's going to be AEW versus Elite. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we just did that. We literally just did an Elite versus AEW people match. And
Anarchy
in the Arena. So now we're going to do, let's do the same Elite group against a different AEW group for Blood and Guts.
Well, they beat everybody up. So they'll eventually, everyone they beat up will come back and then they will overtake them, I guess. I don't know. No.
But here's how dumb this is. So we're supposed to believe that the Elite are running the show, right? They are in charge. But we see Tony Khan and Gorilla with a headset on. So Tony Khan's there in the building, but the Elite are just running the ship.
Well, Christopher Daniels is there.
He's the alternative person in charge, I guess.
But Tony Khan's there too. And if he's the owner, CEO, president, content creator, matchmaker, shower person, like janitor, if he's all these jobs, can't he just get security to remove the Elite from the building?
They're the EVPs, man. Come on.
Yeah.
He's the president, CEO, everything. He owns the company.
When's Daddy Khan come in and say this is enough?
He'll take a Meltzer driver too.
He's not worried about his football team, so you should probably be worried about that. But.
On the
a lot.
On the card, that's going to look like SummerSlam's our next big pay-per-view, PLE, whatever you want to call it. I guess nowadays it's just premium live event. No more pay-per-views for those like us. So that's all. So got a little bit of time before the next one, so it'll be interesting to see. I'm still going to watch the Blood and Guts one just because I want to see some blood action. You know,
yeah, it's fun.
The fun. You've got some, and Great American Bash. That's going to be a Tuesday night for NXT. So basically, I guess All In's the next one for AEW, August 25th. So
well, that
a little bit, and then
that's the problem is that there's so much time in between pay-per-views that this is a dead time for AEW. They're not putting forth any effort in the story.
Don't worry though. All Out is like 2 weeks after All In. So
they did an extra week.
They did an extra week this year. It's not 1 week in between, it's 2. So it's okay.
Why are we still talking about this?
I don't know. It's Kyle gets off.
That's right, Kyle. That's right.
We'll come back and talk at least for sure before SummerSlam. Hopefully we can get together, and so I think that's going to be a really good card. I think there's some shape up, lots of stuff that we don't know yet, but I think it's going to turn into a really good card there for WWE.
Right before SummerSlam might be the last time we catch Jereme because he may miss SummerSlam because he's got to go to bed bright and early because he's got midnight practice the next night.
Yeah, man. Why you bring that up?
Oh,
why you bring that up? Yeah, I did.
Why don't you just stay up and watch SummerSlam and then go to the midnight practice?
So
what's the next day?
What night is SummerSlam?
Oh,
it's Saturday night
on the 3rd.
Saturday.
Yeah. So I can sleep all the next day. It's all right. I'll watch it. Yeah. Football season will be here soon.
I'm excited for SummerSlam though. I think it's gonna be really good. It's gonna be a really good card. Now on paper, I mean the names don't really pop off at you like Damian Priest and Gunther, Solo and Cody in the main event. Like the names don't really.
But we get Punk and Drew and Rhea and Liv.
Yeah,
exactly.
There'll be some good stuff.
And we get Roman returning. I think I'm calling my shot. Roman returns at SummerSlam.
Hopefully, some good stories will come out of it too. That's what's the difference is right now. I know
this is going to be a payoff for a lot of stories too, but it'll keep some kind of going. But
yeah, I think so too. But man, that's been a good show tonight, fellas. Gonna kind of end with our all-time favorite wrestler. Kind of close us out tonight on behalf of his retirement coming up here in the next year, John Cena. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in to Off the Ropes, episode 28, fellas. 28 episodes. Wow. Time flies. For Jereme Hubbard, Dirt Sheet Brandon, KO Kyle Owens, I'm Mr. NetSN Bret 20. We'll catch you next time here on Off the Ropes. Everyone have a great evening. Good night, everybody.
You can't see me.
I believe in Joe Hendry. And I stay under you fighting, plus I'm storming on these chumps like I'm thunder and lightning. Ain't no way you breaking me, kid. I'm hard as nails, plus I keep it on lock like I'm part of the jail. I'm slaughtering stale competition. I got the whole block wishing they could run with my division, but they gone fishing with no bait. Kid, your boy hold weight. I got my soul straight. I brush your mouth like Colgate. In any weather, I'm never better. Your boy's so hot, you never catch me in the next man's sweater. If they hate, let them hate. I drop your whole clan. Lay your ass down for the 3-second tan. Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise where I'm shining now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's gonna be